Welcome back to Wigs Gaming, everybody. Before we start today's video, I did want to let you guys know that the majority of you who are watching my videos are not subscribed. Unique viewers, a lot of them in every single video. 93% of you do not hit the subscribe button. All you have to do is go to the right below the video, hit that subscribe button. You can also hit it in the bottom right corner of your screen, I believe, on mobile. Please subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you guys very much, and let's get into the video. I want to preface today's video by first off stating that we finally accomplished a goal. This channel has been around, I think at this point, 3 years, but I say that without really knowing quite exactly how many times over the course of like how much time I've worked, because there's been 6 months to a year of time sometimes on this channel where I basically haven't uploaded at all. But the first upload on this channel was 3 years ago. It was, let's check the date on this. It was December 12th of 2021. And all the way up until now, we made it. We are officially at 1,000 subscribers. It took 416 videos. I guarantee the first 200 or so of those videos probably were less than 100 subscribers. And then, I kind of found a niche that worked for me and put more time into YouTube Shorts as well. And here we are today, 1,000 subscribers. And if you're watching this and you've been here since the beginning, or have been here since the low hundreds, or have been here since the 900s, it doesn't matter. You are a part of hopefully the start of many more. And I really appreciate you guys for for supporting me and showing me that my videos are enjoyable. Even the people who say terrible things in the comments about me, hey, you still watched? You still watched? So I don't think I really care. I'm actually completely fine with it at the end of the day because you chose to watch anyway. So thank you again for 1,000 subscribers. I know that's not why you clicked on this video, was to hear me say this, but I did want to make sure I specified that. So I got a suggestion to do a new series, and I actually just opened Discord to check because I wanted to give credit to who made the suggestion, and for whatever reason Discord isn't showing me their username, so thank you for suggesting the most average Pokemon. The most average. We did the best. We did the worst. We did the ugliest. We did the most underrated. How about we just talk about the ones in the middle of the road? How about we just talk about the Pokemon that people really don't even think about because it's just kind of there. But you know what? We're going to make sure we get every category out of this possible. So now with the rant over, it's time to start the video. What are the most average, normal type Pokemon of each generation? And for Generation 1... let's take a look here. Honestly, my first thought is Dodrio. And I say Dodrio because this thing's actually very fast. Its issue is that it's very fragile, and encountering it in the game in the Safari Zone when you get it, it's just too late to really add it. It's not very good against pretty much anything coming up, with there being a lot of rock, a lot of fighting types coming up. Most of the Elite Four, you can't do anything because there's a ghost in there as well, and it's just, it's not fun to be a Dodrio. But I love Tri-Attack, and I do think this thing is a lot faster than people give it credit for. But I wouldn't put it as good or bad. I'd really put it right in the middle. For Gen 2, it's definitely going to be Noctowl. What I like about Noctowl, even though Nintendo fumbled the bag adding Dark-type in this generation and then not giving it to one of its most iconic Pokemon, it still gets some Dark moves, at least, which is nice. It gets some Ghost moves. It's a Hypnosis user. I think the concept of an Owl Pokemon was just fumbled in the fact that it wasn't a Dark-type. But otherwise, this Pokemon is pretty much just average. It lacks a lot, but it also gives a lot, and that's really going to be the definition of most of this quiz. Gen 3. If we're really going to talk about a Pokemon that's just straight up average, it's Linoone. The thing with Linoone is that it learns a couple of water moves as well. Like, it gets the Surf TM, it gets the Dive TM as well, I believe. That's really nice about it. It does get Headbutt, it gets Double Edge, it gets all the strong normal type moves. It just statistically is not quite what it needs to be. And that's the biggest problem with this Pokemon. Statistically, it just isn't good enough. But it also has the moveset to help out. Now for Gen 4, the answer is Purugly. The one thing Purugly has going for it is the fact that it's incredibly bulky. This guy, no matter what, will never be able to provide any offensive power for you. If you throw this thing in and hit Double Edge, you're not doing more than 20% health to any Pokemon of equal level. Period. You're just not. But this thing will take a hit so long as you switch it into the right thing. And I think it also gets Amnesia, so you can add some special defense to it as well. Really, really solid. No complaints. And I think this thing might get a rollout defense curl combo as well. If it does, that does help a little bit, but you are locked into rollout, which is scary, so you have to be careful with that risk. For Gen 5, though, yeah, I mean, there's no Pokemon that I think of when I see average other than Bouffalante. They basically took Tauros, they said, do you want an Afro? And then they threw this out here. Like, that's it. That's what they did. And considering the concept that they've added as of late, where there are Pokemon that have, like, regional variant forms like Toedscruel and stuff like that, I'm surprised that they don't just go back and fix Bouffalante into being a regional variant Tauros. Like, don't change the name, but write it into the lore of the Pokemon. Because that, I think, basically summarizes that that is what it is. Considering rather than calling things a certain form of something, they instead just, like, create a new Pokemon altogether. And it's like, oh, it's a past version, it's a future version, it's an adapted to its environment version. You know, like that is kind of what they've done as of late. Gen 6... there's not a lot of options here. It's Heliolisk. Heliolisk is just kind of that electric type that's there and everybody forgets about. And it is what it is. I do like it. It's just everything else in Gen 6 is really strong or really weak. So you kind of just have this guy as very average in the middle. Gen 7, it's... I don't know where I want to go with this. It's Gumshoos. It is. I mean, this is another example just like Lanoon, where this thing gets a lot of utility moves. He learns a lot of TMs and HMs. He just, unfortunately, doesn't do much else. It's just a straight-up average Pokemon. There's nothing more to it, unfortunately. That's just all that it's capable of. Generation 8. Generation 8. Generation 8. It's, I mean, yeah, it's Greedent. I mean, I could put, look at all the second form, the regional rodents I got in here. We have this one, we have this one, we have this one. I mean, that's really what this list is. I think Greedent's actually really bulky, and he's a stockpile user. I don't think you can really complain. This thing can do more than you think it can. It's not the worst. I would say that the worst is probably Indeedee. So, you know what, Greedent? Congratulations, you're on the list, buddy. And if I put you in my worst list, then I change my mind, obviously, between then and now, because it's been probably 2 years since that video. Something like that. And, of course, we have Gen 9. And the Gen 9 answer is a Pokemon a lot of people hate, but I actually think is better than you think, is Grafaiai. Grafaiai is not as bad as you think it is. Grafaiai is straight up not as bad as you think it is. It just isn't. It just isn't. What is the most average, though? It's actually, what do I think? I mean, Dodrio's the best Pokemon on this list, but if we're talking about from an average standpoint, the most average of the averages, the most average of all the averages, I actually think it's Lanoon. Yeah, I do. I think it's Lanoon. I think Lanoon, because of its moveset, really helps. It's just that statistically, it doesn't do much else, is part of the problem. So that is my list. If you've been on this channel before, you know for a fact we're going to do every single type. We're going to release either every day or every other day. Probably every other day is the plan. And I am really, really excited to get this out. Let's see how many subscribers we end up with when it's complete, because I have been told that once you get 1,000, YouTube promotes your channel differently. So let's see if that happens. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is time to talk about the most average fire types in all of Pokemon. It's pretty straightforward. It's not that difficult. We do it right now. We start right now. I don't need to give a big monologue, because every single time I do that, people get mad at me. So you know what? Fine. But here's the difference. You all need to comment down below because of this. You need to comment something. It can literally be anything at all. You know what? Comment the word something. Because I'm not doing a monologue, it's your job to go down and comment real quick. Comment the word something. All right? And then we'll confuse people who clicked the video and scrolled away. All right, here we go. Most average fire. Gen 1. It's Ninetales. It's obviously Ninetales. Ninetales is the one fire type that doesn't have anything going for it. This is the greatest fire type ever made. This thing is the one everybody chose if they didn't choose Charizard. This thing is really fast. This thing has a butt on his head. This thing is an evolution nobody cares about. This is a legendary, and this one's just kind of there. Simple as that. All right, Gen 2. Most average, it's Houndoom. It is. Houndoom is basically, first of all, Fire Dark, great typing. If you made Dark a special type, but you didn't. You didn't in Gen 2. You made Dark a physical... Wait. I think Dark was a physical type. Sorry, I think Dark was a special type. Ooh, was it? I think Dark... Actually, you know what? I think it was. Which actually helps it, by the way. It helps its case. It's still not the best. It's still not the worst. It's still the one right in the middle. But regardless, actually, Dark and Fire, great typing. Really is. Really underrated typing. Does it add weaknesses? Yes. Does it add offensive fire power? Also yes. Gen 3. Okay, I actually am just now realizing how little fire types are in Gen 3. And this is like my 5th or 6th time doing a list like this. Which is honestly hilarious to me. That it took me this long to figure that out. But hey, is what it is, right? The answer is Camerupt. The thing is with Camerupt is I love his moveset. This thing, offensively, from both the typing and a moveset standpoint, is amazing. The problem is that its strengths are also its weaknesses. Okay? And what I mean when I say that is this thing, it gets destroyed by water, it gets destroyed by ground, it gets destroyed by grass, and it doesn't really have enough offensive power to fight back against that, unfortunately. Gen 4. We're already at 4. Oh, come on, man. Really? Really? I mean, it's Magmortar. I don't have an option, okay? We have one of the best fire types ever made. We have a legendary. We have a Pokemon that's OP in competitive battles. And then we have this guy that we don't see very often. I mean, this is an evolution everybody asked for because, you know, everybody wanted this, which is excellent. But, like, that's all. I can't really say much else about it. Otherwise, it has a cool move, too. That's it. That's it. And its animations are cool because it shoots fire out of his arms and stuff, out of its cannons. That's pretty cool. Gen 5, here's some options. Yeah, as average as it gets when I really look at a Pokemon is Chandelure. Yes, Chandelure is a good Pokemon. Yes, Chandelure is competitively viable. Yes. It's not Emboar. This is trash. This is better. This is trash. This is a legendary. This is a legendary. And this is some abomination from Pokemon Black and White 2 that I make fun of every time I see this, because every single time I see it, I literally go insane wondering how on earth this is even considered a fire type, but that's what they decided to do. And then you have Chandelure. Hey, Fire Ghost, really good typing. Really, really good typing. Seriously. Gen 6. I mean, it's funny how many times Pyroar has made a list like this, but it's true. Like, this thing, I know he made the underrated list. He's going to make the average list because at the same time, everything in here is properly rated besides him, and everything in here is good besides him. So it's like, okay, Pyroar is the answer. I'll pick this one because I usually pick the full-maned one, so I'm going to pick this one this time. Yeah, it's Pyroar. It's Pyroar. I feel like Pyroar has made almost every one of these lists. I'm not even joking. I think he has. I think he has. Okay, Gen 6. 7? 7. Gen 7. Salazzle, Blacephalon, Alolan Marowak. It's Alolan Marowak. This is a Pokemon people forget exists, and they don't know how good its typing is. I said before, Fire Ghost, great typing. I did. I said that before, and I meant it. Alolan Marowak. Incredibly strong. Underrated. Not underrated. Average. Oh, man, what have I done? Have I forgotten what this list is? Okay, you know what? Regardless, it's still... No, I almost said underrated again. It's average, and the reason it's average is because it's not the best, and it's not the worst, okay? And I'm saying that being an average YouTuber now, okay? I've gone from beginner YouTuber to average YouTuber now that I'm at 1,000, okay? So now I'm not the best, but I'm also not the worst, right? I'll never consider myself the best regardless. Stay humble, everybody. If I can give anybody any advice in the world, stop thinking you're better than everybody else at something. Because if you think that you're better than other people at something, you will never get better at it yourself. Always know you can be better. Always know that there is an opportunity to get better. And beyond that, always know that you're not better than anybody else. Even if somebody tries to tell you that they're better than you, let them think that. You know who you are. You know what you're capable of. And everyone can always improve. All right? So there's my philosophical point of the day. All right? You're not better than anybody. I'm not better than anybody. Getting that across. I was just making a joke on that because now that sounds bad and hypocritical. But seriously, from a YouTube numbers standpoint, okay, maybe I've crossed into average territory because that's a statistic that you can track. But even if I'm the number one YouTuber in the world, I would literally never say I'm better than anybody else. I don't believe that. I never will. Generation 8. The most average Gen 8 Pokemon. What's funny is I feel like I've come around to this guy before and continued to forget what his name is. I think we're there again, where I just can't remember your name to save my life. I'll put your Gmax form in there because it looks cooler. But yeah, this guy. I'm going to call him Malphite. He looks like Malphite from League of Legends. That's what I'm going to go with. All right, Gen 9. Obviously it's Paldean Tauros Fire. Yeah, I mean, Tauros is a great Pokemon. It is. Paldean Tauros was something that people didn't really ask for, but hey, they appreciate it. I don't think they were really all that mad about it. And everything else in here is really good. So what do you want me to say? I mean, it's Paldean Tauros. It just is. It's an average Pokemon. It's not going to blow you away. I'm going to go with Ninetales for the most average, though, personally. Like, when you really consider what some of these Pokemon are, Ninetales is the average of the average bunch. It really is. I mean, it's kind of there. It's really just kind of there. It's beaten out by every other fire type on this list, in my personal opinion. So, there it is. Anyway, thank you for watching. Here's your list. And what are we commenting down below? Something. We're commenting something down below. If you got this far in the video, comment down below if you haven't done so already. Stay humble. And I'll see you guys for some water types in the next video. Welcome back, everybody. We have been talking about the most average Pokemon of each type for each generation. And today we're going to be talking about the water type. So if you're interested in the video, if you're excited about the video, if you just enjoy watching my content, feel free to give the video a like. It's really good for the YouTube algorithm. We hit 1,000 subscribers. Now we're on to the 2,000 push. And let's talk about some average Pokemon. Starting with the water type here today. I think for sure we can decide and agree on a lot of these because there's a lot of water types that are really just middle of the road, forgettable type Pokemon. And this is kind of where we start out. So for Gen 1 here, I would say if I have to talk about an average Pokemon, like a Pokemon that I don't think is bad, I don't think is good, I don't think anything like that, right? I think it's Dugong. Personally, Dugong adding ice type to it is actually incredibly helpful. The fact that they even gave it to him. Why they gave him ice type is a whole other story. I guess because he's a seal and there's seals that live in Arctic territories and such, I guess. But it helped him. It didn't hurt him. It helped him a lot offensively to have that ice type be added to a moveset that already had a lot of ice moves in it. You go from seal to Dugong and you do get an increase in defense as well. This thing has a lot of HP. So, hey, it's kind of a middle-of-the-road Pokemon. For Gen 2, though, I'm actually going to go with Octillery. The thing with Octillery is that it's a bad Pokemon on paper, but because of Octazooka, it immediately pushes it up over the edge to where this thing can be viable in the right situation. Octazooka literally just one-shots everything at the end of the day. There's nothing more that you can say to it than that, and that's exactly why Octillery belongs on this list. Without question, really. Gen 3. The most average that I can think of in regards to Gen 3, immediately I think of Wailord. Wailord is awesome. Like, every single person that ever played Gen 3 and saw Wailord was like, oh, that Wailmer I decided not to catch because I didn't bother to fish would have turned into this. That would have been really cool, right? Like, everybody thought that. And while this thing has a ridiculous amount of HP and it's a water spout user, which just really, really helps its case, nothing else is there for it, making it just an average Pokemon. But man, is this thing cool. And I think to this day, it is still the biggest Pokemon. I don't know if maybe Eternatus has beaten it out. It might have, because I know Eternatus is also massive. But Wailord did hold that crown up until then, if Eternatus is bigger. I'm sure somebody in the comments will fact check me and let me know how big each one of them is. I know weight-wise, Groudon I think is still the heaviest Pokemon, but in regards to the biggest Pokemon, I think Wailord is like 40 feet tall or something like that is what they say about him. But yeah, giving a Water Spout to a Pokemon with that much HP, the only Pokemon I think that has more base HP is Blissey, is really, really good. No question on that one. I'm trying so hard not to sneeze right now. I might have to mute. Nope, false alarm. We're good. All right. Gen 4. Honestly, everything in here is either good, bad, or in the middle. I guess you would say Babarrel's in the middle. I probably said something along the lines of Babarrel being underrated in the past because, like, what this thing is it's the greatest HM user you could ever ask for. You're not putting this thing in your party to fight, but it is going to help you win the game because it learns almost every single HM. That's the reason it exists. And I honestly, legitimately think Game Freak designed this specifically to be an HM user. Legitimately. Gen 5. Gen 5. Swanna is like that Pokemon I think of that's like everything people liked about Pelipper without being Pelipper. Like, if Pelipper wasn't a meme, people would probably like it a lot more. People probably like Swanna a lot more because I think Swanna actually is a better Pokemon statistically. It's just that Pelipper is Pelipper, and so everybody likes it because the community likes it, and I really don't know where that came from, but it is what it is, right? But Swanna, being water and flying, sucks defensively, great offensively. No complaints. Not to mention, this was the first water flying. Oh, I'm saying that. Is there a water flying on this list? Nope. First water flying introduced after the physical special split, which did it a lot of favors that Pelipper didn't get for its time. Gen 6. I know your name. I know your name. I know your name. Clauncher. Clauncher is really fast. When you think about water types in Generation 6, you're probably thinking about Greninja almost every single time. And then other stuff is just other stuff. Clauncher, what it has going for it is its speed. This thing is a monster with speed. An absolute monster. It's a great Aqua Jet user as well because it has great base attack without having too much defense. But the speed definitely helps this thing. And I think it gets Swords Dance. I'm pretty sure about that. Really, really good Pokemon. Only thing this thing needs is a Shell Smash, which it doesn't have. Gen 7? I think you guys are going to get mad at me about this one, but listen. Regardless of the fact that this is one of the worst designed Pokemons I think I've ever seen in my life. I just said Pokemons. I can speak English. One of the worst designed Pokemon that I've ever seen in my entire life. This thing, being Psychic and Water, is such a unique type. It's something they should have given to Psyduck, but didn't. This thing also, for some reason, learns physical moves, not special moves. I guess that's why they put that mouth on it, because like he's got these teeth over here, so he can use Psychic Fangs and things like that. It's another good Aqua Jet user. It's a very good Liquidation user. This thing, actually really, really average and not bad. I would say average and not bad. Legitimately. I think I've been saying underrated. I knew I'd make these mistakes, by the way. I knew I would. Anyway. Gen 8. I don't really have an option here at all. All of these are bad. Let's go with Barraskewda. That's Barraskewda, right? Yeah, I'll tell you right now, I've never used one of these before, but I know that like a lot of these are good. Oh wait, no, this thing. What's his name? Squawk something? No. Oh gosh, what's your name? You're on the list, okay? You guys, I'm going to get flamed in the comments for this one. It is what it is. I didn't play Gen 9. I only played Gen 8 one time. I did. Only one time. Only one time. And then for Generation 9, it's definitely Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri, the thing to keep in mind with this thing when you look at how puny it is one, for whatever reason, it's a dragon type. And two, in addition to that, it's really bulky. Like, this thing, you don't expect to take the hits that it can take. And that's what sets it apart from the other bad Pokemon, is that it can take any hit it chooses to take. I'm going to put the yellow one on here, sure, why not? All right. The most average, though, honestly speaking, is Wailord. Water Spout's an OP move in Gen 3. It looks cool, and it's my list, so I decided that's what it would be. So there's our list. We got Dugong, Octillery, Wailord, Bibarel, Swanna, Clauncher, Bruxish. Oh, what is your name? I know your name. Your name is... Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to remember it. Tatsugiri and Wailord, in my opinion, is the most average Pokemon. Alrighty. Thank you guys for watching. We'll talk about some grass types soon. I look forward to it. See, listen, when it comes to average Pokemon, the grass typing comes up a lot because there's a lot of Pokemon that are just middle of the road. You can use them early, you can't use them late, anything along those lines. And we're going to talk about some of those grass types today in our most average grass type Pokemon of every single generation. Now for Gen 1, I'm actually really interested in just kind of looking at my options here. And I think we can agree it's Vileplume. Vileplume is a great typing Pokemon with a great moveset. What it isn't is anything more than that, because its statistics are absolute garbage. But you know what? Will it get the job done for you for most of the game, if not all of it, if you play your cards right? Absolutely. It'll status you. It'll hit you with a Giga Drain. It will actually resist a lot more typings than you think that it can, and a lot more different moves than you think that it can. So I will give Vileplume credit where credit is due. It's still an average Pokemon, though. Gen 2? Yeah. I mean, Blossom is basically, okay, let's give Gloom another evolution that nobody asked for, that was actually worse than Vileplume, and it'll just be there. And here we are. Gen 3, now if we're really talking about the average of all average Pokemon, this is obviously Roselia. Roselia is a Pokemon that everybody knew needed an evolution, and it got one, which is great. It's a better Pokemon now than it was before. But for its time, you'd see Roselia and you'd think, okay, this thing might poison me. Okay, this thing might Giga Drain me. You never thought, oh, this thing might kill me. Not once. Not one time at all. But it's average because of its moveset and its typing, just as a lot of other things are. Grass Poison, just to me, is a really underrated type. There's nothing more to it for me. Gen 5. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Now we're really talking, because I think this is where things get a little difficult, right? I think this is where decisions need to be made. And honestly, for me, it's actually Leafeon. Out of every single evolution that's ever existed, the one that I never see people use is Leafeon. I see Glaceon all the time. I see Jolteon. I see Vaporeon. I don't see too much Flareon, although it is better now than it was in the past. I never see Leafeon. Like, this is a Pokemon I literally never see people use. Why do you think that is? Well, I have looked into it a little bit, and one of its problems is that its base stat total is absolutely terrible compared to the other evolutions, at least for the moveset that it gets. And the other point is that it's just forgotten. Like, people don't know that it exists. But I would say it's definitely like middle of the way when you really look at a Pokemon like this. Moveset, again, is good. It's a physical grass type, which you don't see too often, especially not in the Eevee line, which I also thought was pretty cool. It's just that nobody uses it at the end of the day, and its base stats are really bad. Gen 5. Yeah. Lilligant is one of those Pokemon that's basically Bill Awesome with a little bit more defense, and like that's all I can say about it. Is it bad? No. Is it good? No. That's what this list is for. Gen 6. It's Go-Goat. I was corrected because I said before that Go-Goat had fur coat. It wasn't Go-Goat. It was, wait, this isn't Go-Goat. Yes, it is. It wasn't Go-Goat that had fur coat. It was, oh, it was a normal type. Hold on. Hold on. When I look at it, will that tell me? It was this guy, Furfrou. He has fur coat, not Go-Goat. But Go-Goat is still bulky. That's what it has going for it. It's still bulky. It gets Horn Leech and a lot of cool physical grass moves that you don't see too often. I actually think this is a really good Pokemon, and you can set them up really well effectively. Gen 7, if we're talking about an average Gen 7 Pokemon, Serena or Lurantis? I'm going to say it's Lurantis. I like Serena a little bit more. Trop Kick is a really underrated move. Serena's fast, Serena's strong. Lurantis isn't bad comparably to Serena, but it is worse, and it's nowhere near the best Pokemon out there. It really is kind of that middle of the road. You're not mad if you have this, but at the same time, you're not really happy either because you could have had something much better. Generation 8. I think, honestly speaking, this is one of the most overrated Pokemon I've ever seen. Flapple is a cool type. Okay? It's a cool type. It's nothing more than that. It's nothing more than that. It's just a cool type. It doesn't get good moves. It gets destroyed by ice. But it's a cool type. Nothing more than that. And Gen 9 is probably Bramblegast. Is it Bramblegast? Is that his name? I'm pretty sure that's his name. I wish there was a way to check the names on here, but hey, you know, this site doesn't really need to be maintained until they add new Pokemon, so I don't expect them to make any updates. I'm one of the only people in the world still using this site. This was a trend over 2 years ago using this site. I still use it. No other YouTubers are. But yeah, I think Bramblegast is his name. Adding Ghost to Grass really helped him, but he's still not Mousecuraida. He's still not Arboliva. He's still not... Oh gosh, what's your name? We have been over this. How many times have I forgotten your name? How many times do I forget this thing's name? There are commenters that'll say, oh yeah, you forgot it in this video, you forgot it in that video, you forgot it in this video, you forgot it in that video. Was he just in my last video? Was he in my fire video? He might have been too, just to add more to it. Anyway, it's Bramblegast. I'm not going to remember. When I think of the most average of the averages, though, I definitely think of Vileplume. Like, a Pokemon that you're not mad at having, but you're not happy having either, that does do more for you than you think it can. That's definitely a very average Pokemon, to say the least. Anyway, that's our list, guys. Thank you for watching. We will be doing some electric types next time. I'll see you then. Alright, we need to talk about some electric Pokemon, okay? Electric types. This is a typing that a lot of people are not the biggest fan of, to say the least. But it's a typing that I am a big fan of. So I'm excited. Let's give it a shot. Let's see who the average electric type Pokemon are. And to me, it doesn't get more average than Magneton. This thing is quite simply a very annoying Pokemon typing to deal with. But then it ends there. It ends there. There is nothing more to it than that. Great typing. Nothing else to say. Because it has nothing really going for it beyond that. That's why it got an evolution in Sinnoh. Gen 2? Man, these are actually all really good. This makes me sad because, like, I think Lantern is actually a good Pokemon. I don't think it's an average Pokemon. I know that there are people that would think otherwise, but I legitimately don't think he's an average Pokemon. But when you look at this list, this is too good, this is a legendary, and I'm not going to pick a baby Pokemon because it's worse than that. So it's like, okay, I guess Lantern's the answer. It makes me sad, but it is what it is. Oh, great. Oh, great. Okay, well, the answer is actually Plusle. Not Minun. The thing with Minun is that it's actually probably the worst of this list, specifically because it's not as strong as Plusle. Because of, like, their plus and minus, Minun's thing is defense and Plusle's thing is offense. They're both trash at it, but at least Plusle does more offensively than Minun does. And I think offense is more valued when you suck defensively regardless. Offense is more value. So, you know what? Plusle's there. I think Plusle gets a good moveset as well. And yeah, I mean, it's an average Pokemon. I can't believe they only added 4 in that gen. That really surprises me to see that. Gen 4? Huh. You know, Rotom Fan is like that one Rotom form you never see. I feel like you see every Rotom form competitively except this one. I really do. So I'm going to say that's average because I think there's some bad and there's some also some really good in here. But like, I never see this. I never see this, and I'm going to pick this one. Gen 5. This is by far and beyond Galvantula. This is another Pokemon that you see because of things like Electro Web, Sticky Web as well. He probably gets Nuzzle if you need it. He gets destroyed by Stealth Rocks, though, and he's a little bit slower than a literal electric charged insect should be. But hey, you know, he's there. He's not a bad Pokemon compared to Stunfisk or, Emolga, but it's not the best. It's just kind of there. Gen 6, I already picked him, but I have to pick him again. It's Heliolisk. I picked him on my normal type video. It makes sense to pick him again here. Again, he's just kind of that middle-of-the-road electric type that everybody forgets exists. It's really not much more to it than that. It's kind of in an obscure spot in the game where you probably already have an electric type. If not, you don't need one anymore. And it's just kind of there. You might catch it and throw it in your box for Pokedex completion. That's about as far as you're going to get. Gen 7. Togedemaru. What I like about it is Zing Zap. I believe it's its ability. I was corrected on it last time around. I believe it's called Zing Zap. You can also give this thing Rocky Helmet, and I believe it has Iron Barbs as an ability. And it's Steel Electric. This is basically what Magneton does with better defense. And so, with that being said, it's better than I think people think it is. It's certainly not the best. It's certainly not the worst. There's some bad ones in this list too. And that's where you get the law of averages, right? The law of averages, Isaac Newton talking here clearly. Moving on. So for Gen 8, this is actually terrible, this list. This is hard, man. This is hard. Because I actually think a lot of these Pokemon are really good. I don't think a lot of these Pokemon are bad whatsoever. I guess the answer is Toxtricity because I think that Boltund is better. But Toxtricity is also good. Morpeko is trash. These are really good. Okay, here we are. Moving on. Yeah. Bellybolt, though. Let's talk about Bellybolt here for Gen 9. Bellybolt is actually really, really underrated. Electromorphosis is a great move. I think it's really, really strong. I think they missed out an opportunity to make this thing part water because it looks like a frog of some sort, but I don't mind the fact that it's pure electric. I do think it does remove some potential weaknesses as well, so I'm not too mad about that. But I think Bellybolt's actually really, really good. And it's just not Palmot to me. It's not Kilowattrel. There were a lot of great electric types introduced, including the Paradox Pokemon in Gen 9. And Bellybolt's just kind of there by comparison. You see Tadbulb and you really don't think to yourself, oh, I'm going to catch that, you know? And it turns into this. And even if you catch it, you're probably thinking, oh, it'll turn into like a Gyarados or something. And then you get this and you're not happy. You know what I mean? But I do think Bellybolt's really, really fun. Most not underrated. Average Pokemon? Yeah, I mean, when I think of Magneton, for years and years and years since Pokemon is created, this is a Pokemon that's been nothing more than just average. It's never changed. It's never changed. All right. Oh, I'm trying not to yawn. Oh, I just yawned. All right, we almost got through it. We almost got through a whole video without yawning. Would have been the first time ever. Thank you guys for watching. That's our list. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We're going to talk about some ice types next time, the average ones. And I'll see you then. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We've been talking about the most average Pokemon of every generation, of every single type, and today it's time to talk about some ice types. But I did want to just take a quick moment, and if you have a problem when I take a quick moment, you can skip ahead a minute or two. I'll be really brief. If you're watching this video, I believe if this video doesn't do it, the one that came out prior to this one, which was the electric type video, got us to YouTube partnership. The two things you have to do to get to YouTube partnership is a watch hour requirement and a subscriber requirement. 1,000 subscribers got us that requirement, and now I believe, because we're only like, I think a few watch hours away as of Friday night, with a video coming out on Saturday and this one coming out on Monday probably. This is really awesome that we're going to potentially be a YouTube partner and actually be able to earn some money. We also have memberships available on the channel, super chats, things along those lines. I will start rolling out these videos as members only before they come out live for you guys. So members will get everything first. If you're interested in getting a membership to the channel, you are welcome to do that. That is enabled. And I will put that as a membership perk, that members will get every video early. I'll set everything from members only to public as soon as I get my first member. So if that's something you guys are interested in doing, you can. That is also available to you. So let's go ahead and talk about some ice types now. Thank you for bearing with me. I am really excited about all the great things going on this channel. Almost at 1,030 subscribers already, when it took us a long time from 900 to 1,000. So we're really at a good pace. We're feeling pretty good, and we're at a consistent rate, and we're just going to keep working, and you know, we're going to continue to grow the channel. So the ice types. There's a lot that are bad, especially in the early gens. I think around Gen 3 is where I start to think ice types are really good. So I'm interested in kind of seeing what I would put on this list, because I usually like to go on these just kind of unscripted, and blind is kind of my goal when I do these. So this should go pretty well. Also, I hope the audio sounds better. I am no audio wizard. Anybody who's watched me for a while knows my audio is always trash. I hope this sounds better. I have done some configuring with my audio equipment. At the end of the day, I probably need a better microphone, but I hope this one will work well. So yeah, there we are. What's the most average ice type, though, in Gen 1? It's Cloyster. Everything else on this list, when you really, really look at it, right? When you really look at it, Dugong, in my personal opinion, is underrated, but still bad. And then Lapras. Oh, I'm totally not yawning. Articuno. Jinx, I think Ice Psychic is a great type. What Cloyster has going for it is its defense more than anything else, and that's what sets it apart from a bad Pokemon. It's a Pokemon that you get, you're like, it could be worse. That's really what you think when you think about Cloyster. Gen 2 is Delibird. Listen. Delibird, a lot of people would consider to be the worst Pokemon. Sorry, not the worst. One of the worst Pokemon. And it's very well universally loved, thanks to a YouTuber that we all know and love and respect very much so. And I think that's a big reason why Delibird has a soft spot in our heart, including my own. But beyond that, actually, other than Present, which is, you know, one of the worst moves ever, this thing does learn a lot of TMs. And you can actually give this thing much stronger moves than you think you really can. So I can't really complain about Delibird. I think it's just kind of average. I don't think it's bad. I really don't. For Gen 3, if you really want to talk an average Pokemon, it's Glalie. I love Glalie's design, and I think I've always loved Glalie as a Pokemon. I've always liked using it. It's just so weak defensively. It gets great moves. It unfortunately suffered from the fact that the physical special split didn't exist until Gen 4, because it got a lot of biting moves considering its design. But it did get a lot of good ice moves. It was so fragile. It was so fragile, unfortunately. Adding Frostlass into the Glalie evolution line was an interesting choice. It wasn't one that I really liked, because I thought they could have just made Glalie better. But then they gave Glalie a Mega, and even though that thing looks ridiculous, it is still, you know, pretty cool and a much better version of Glalie than the past. So I can't really... Oh, I'm totally not yawning again. I can't really complain. You know, I think it's a solid Pokemon. Gen 5. Yeah, I think there's going to be a theme where the evolutions that, like, nobody really uses start to end up on this list, because I just think there's a lot of really, really good Gen 4 ice types. And this is one where it's like, okay, is it better than Leafeon? Yes. The people that heard my Leafeon rant I made before, is this better and more viable and more popular? The answer is yes across the board. Doesn't mean it's the best, though. Doesn't mean it's the best, but it is good. It is good, definitely. Gen 5, most average. It's Cryogonal is actually probably the worst. No, it's Vanillux. Vanillux is basically what you want out of an ice type, where it's just very diverse in its moveset. Just about any special ice type move that exists, you can probably give to this thing. Is it fragile? Yes, that's going to be continuing to be a theme with these ice types, unfortunately, just because they have so many weaknesses. But at the end of the day, I think that having a Pokemon with a diverse moveset in its own type will actually help you in 90% of situations. Gen 6. So I basically have two choices, or I choose a Mega. So I'm just going to go with Aurorus because Avalugg is actually really good, like everybody knows. This was actually one of the OG physical ice type Pokemon. This was one of the OG physical ice type Pokemon. We did not get, Beartic I know exists, but I don't think of Beartic when I think physical ice type. I think of this. I don't think Beartic was viable back then. Okay, I just said something that's going to make somebody mad in the comments. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but by all means, I still don't think so. But Avalugg was like really, really good and competitive in Gen 6, and it was like the OG, in my opinion, of a physical ice type and what you want. I guess Sneasel too, but nah. Sneasel's problem is its defensive ability is terrible. Gen 7. Yeah, just like kind of how I talked about regular Ninetales, I actually think the Alolan Ninetales, in my opinion, is better. I think that it's more viable. You guys talked a lot. We had a good conversation in the comments on that Fire-type video where everybody agreed that, like, hey, Ninetales can do some really good stuff. The problem is when you have Charizard that you start with or Arcanine is right there, why on earth would you keep it? Then that's basically what happened. And with Alolan Ninetales, I think you can say similar things about. Unfortunately, it's basically very similar from a base stat standpoint. It's very similar from a moveset standpoint. And when you have stuff like this available, I guess, you probably go with that. Or you just don't choose an ice type because ice is not very good in Gen 7. A lot of the island battles don't really help to have an ice type. So that makes a difference as well. Generation 8. To me, and I think you guys are going to disagree with me, to me it's Ice-Q. I love Ice-Q's ability. I love its design. I love its moveset. The only thing I don't love is how fast it dies. That's all I really have to say about him. But I do really, really enjoy using this Pokemon. And honestly, I've never been disappointed seeing one. For Gen 9? Wow. Okay, so can we all agree that like Gen 9 is probably the most stacked Ice-type lineup ever? Baxcalibur, Satitan, Iron Bundle? Which one is that? Is that I forget all of the Ruin Pokemon of Gen 9 because of their names. I know Chiyu is the fish. I think that one's Chenpao. I know Tinglu is the big bulky moose. I think that one's Chenpao. But I guess the answer is Satitan. Like, yes, is Satitan really good? Yes, Satitan is incredible. Okay? So is Iron Bundle. So is Chenpao. So is Baxcalibur. So I'm just going to put Satitan in here. At the end of the day, Satitan's kind of like that middle-of-the-road one, I guess, at the end of the day. Actually, if you really think about it, the standards change when you have such a stacked list to the point where the most middle ground Pokemon is probably the best. So I'm actually going to put Baxcalibur here because at the end of the day, the Pokemon that is most average would be Baxcalibur because the bar has been raised by the rest of these Pokemon. That's how I look at it. The bar has been raised by the rest of these Pokemon. What's the most average, though? I actually think it's Glalie. Like, when I really consider kind of what an ice type could be, but what it ended up as, but still doesn't disappoint you because it gets a lot of good stuff, I think of Glalie. I really do. That's going to do for the video today. I hope the audio sounded better, guys. And if it didn't, then that's okay. More tweaking. I think part of the thing that I want to do in being a YouTube partner is, one, take quality a little bit more serious. I love the low-effort content like this that is hit record, talk for about 10 minutes, hit stop recording, throw it in an editor, cut it to length, export it, make a thumbnail, upload it. That is a very easy process for me, and it keeps me uploading when things are simple and easy for me, which is good, right? But at the end of the day, I still need to, the things that I can control outside of that, like audio quality, are things I can do something about. So I'm definitely going to work on that. If it means a new microphone, also possible, and if I start making, a little bit of money here and there and from this, I can reinvest it back into the channel because I have a full-time job. And, depending on the amount of money, I'm not going to reinvest a bunch of money, but it is a possibility that I can reinvest it into better equipment and things along those lines in the future. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And let's talk about some average fighting types coming up soon. See you then. Fighting types might just be the heavy hitter of every single list that I do of these categorical lists that I've done over, I think, at least 2 years now since the first one. Maya, what are you doing? What are you doing? What do you have? What do you have? Okay, that's her toy. All right. She's doing just fine. She's just being a little crazy right now. Anyway, we're going to talk about the most average fighting type Pokemon that have ever existed for every single generation, starting from Gen 1 all the way to Gen 9, and then we'll pick the most average. So let's get started here. I think for Gen 1, I think everybody can agree the answer is Poliwrath. Everything on this list is either good or bad and no middle ground. Poliwrath is... The problem with Poliwrath is, like, physical special split really screwed him over because he is a physical Pokemon with a bunch of special water-type moves. He does get a fair amount of fighting moves, not too many. And that really hurts him until later generations. But in later generations, is he... Oh, sorry. Can you tell I recorded this right after the Ice-type one? It's only 8:38. How old am I? I'm turning into a grandpa real fast, man. I'm tired at 8:38. Anyway, it's better than Primeape. It's better than Hitmonchan. I can't really say it's better than anything else. That makes it average. That's what an average Pokemon is, right? Okay, well, it's Hitmontop then for Gen 2. I don't really have much of a conversation to have. This is obviously the best, and I'm not going to pick that. So it's this. I mean, it is what it is. I think Hitmontop is really cool. It's always the nostalgic Pokemon because I remember Hitmontop in the Pokemon TV show when I was a kid. He'd be like, Hitmontop, like that. That's exactly how he said it. And I guarantee it, if you go and look it up, you would know that's exactly how it sounded. And that's literally been in my head, ingrained in my head for literal years and years and years and years to this day, to the point where I can be like, Hitmontop, and it immediately reminds me of it. But that's all I got to say. I was really just trying to fill time there because I don't have much more to say other than that this Pokemon is... Okay, actually, we have a couple things we could say about this Pokemon. A disappointment. A disappointment is what I would say. Nobody asked for another Hitmon. It was cool that we got one because they added so many pre-evolutions and new evolutions in Johto, and this is one of the ones we got. I thought its moveset was cool. The concept of triple kick was cool. It was just bad every other way. That's all I can really say. Gen 3, it's Hariyama. Hariyama provides value from one thing only, and that's its HP. Its HP is so high. Like, literally, do you see this man's thighs? All of his HP are in his thighs. Like, here's his head, here's his tiny little chest, and then he's got these thunder thighs. All his HP is stored in there. This guy has so much HP. But at the end of the day, that's all he has. He has a decent moveset, but pretty bad attack, and a lot of HP. That's it. Gen 4. Gallade. Gallade is another evolution nobody asked for. And my main issue with it, while I like its moveset, is that it's just no Toxicroak or Infernape or Lucario. And that's really all I can say about it. Psychic Fighting is an interesting type. They tried it with Meditite, and it really didn't work. Medicham, that is. And it really didn't work very well. The main issue was physical special split more than anything else, which is why they didn't, which is why they were able to fix that a little bit. But also the problem with Medicham is the fact that it is also kind of like a mixed attacker. It isn't better at physical, better at special. And Gallade is kind of similar to that as well, which is another issue. Gen 5 introduced a lot of fighting types. When I really think about like an average fighting type that you're happy to have, but like, meh, is either Throw or Sock. I'll say it's both of them just because I don't remember which ones are better at each one. I think Sock was the one that was less defensive, and more offensive, and then you have Throw that's more defensive. I'm just saying that based off their design. I think I remember that. But anyway, what I always remember about Throw and Sock is it's basically they both do very similar things. Circle Throw is a cool move, always crits every time, things like that. It's just a very middle of the road fighting type. There's bad ones and there's good ones, and then there's this. And then there's also a fighting trainer. I guess he can summon fighting type Pokemon. He could have 6 of them, so I guess that technically is better than a Sock or a Throw. So Gen 6 is definitely... It's not Quilladin. What does Quilladin evolve into? Chestnut! Oh my gosh, that is the first time ever I forgot a name and remembered it. Chestnut. It's funny. It took me a long time to learn that this thing was even a fighting type, which I thought was funny. Chestnut, everybody clowns on its design. Everybody, I always hear that people prefer the other 2 Gen 6 designs better. Of course, Greninja being the best. I know a lot of people say it's overhyped and overrated. Okay, that's fine, but you name another starter Pokemon that looks as cool as him. You just can't. Simple as that. But Chestnut is actually really good because it gets Spiky Shield as well. It gets Swords Dance. It gets Mach Punch, and a whole heap of other fighting and grass moves, making it a really good physical grass fighting type. Does that create a lot of weakness, though? Yes, and that's part of the problem with him. Everything else, though, is excellent. Generation 7 here. I'm going to have to go with Passimian. Why did you give this thing normal type? Why couldn't you just make this thing a pure fighting type? Everything would have been just fine, Game Freak. But then you're just like, let's add another weakness just so he can get stab on normal type moves, which he wouldn't use anyway. Wait a minute. Is this thing not normal fighting? I'm doubting myself right now. Let me see if Siri can tell me. Hold on. Let me turn my ringer up so you guys can hear Siri with me, okay? Here we go. Siri, what type is the Pokemon Passimian?
Here's an answer from facts.net.
It literally says Poplio is a water-type Pokemon. That's not what I asked. I didn't ask Poplio. Passimian. Oh, is this pure fighting? Did I make a whole rant over nothing? Oh, I did. You guys are going to be so mad at me. Okay, can we change our answer? I feel like all these Pokemon are good, though. I can't even be mad. You know what? It's Pheromosa, and here's why. This thing dies in one hit. I don't care how fast and strong you are. When you can't take a hit, you're done. Okay, moving on. I'm not even going to cut that Passimian out of the video, too. You guys are allowed to clown me. Go ahead. Go down in the comments right now and clown me. Do it. I'm waiting. Go ahead. Tell me I'm stupid. I'm giving you full permission to say Wigs is stupid in the comments. No offense taken. I told you could do it. All right, couple more seconds. All right, let's get back to the video. Okay. Gen 8. Gen 8 is Sirfetch'd. Farfetch'd was a Pokemon that was universally loved, not because it was great, not because it was designed well, but because the opposite. It was a terrible Pokemon that had a goofy design and a really interesting mechanic in where you can give it a leak stick to make it stronger. Nobody asked for it to everybody kind of wanted it to be evolved. Not nobody. I was wrong on that one. A lot of people wanted it to be evolved. And we thought, after Gen 4, with 5 and 6 and 7, all not including new evolutions, that we would never get a new evolution again. And then Gen 8 came along and they said, yeah, we will. And they introduced Sirfetch'd. And let me tell you something about Sirfetch'd. They literally took Farfetch'd and gave him a sword and a shield! In Pokemon Sword and Shield! Is that not awesome? Are we not feeling that? Is this thing not also a fighting type now, which is super cool? Now, this is not a coolest Pokemon list. This is not an awesome Pokemon list. This is not a powerful Pokemon list. This is an average Pokemon list. And at the end of the day, you still were one day of Farfetch'd, and because of that, your base stats suck! They're awful! That's the problem. Gen 9. Flamigo is that Pokemon in Gen 9 that you forget exists. If you played through Gen 9 and you saw this and you said, ooh, I want to catch this, I guarantee you didn't add it to your party. If you saw this in Gen 9 and you said, ooh, I want to catch this, I bet you didn't actually want to catch it. I think you just wanted it for your Pokemon completion. Your Pokedex completion, that is. Flamigo, another fighting psychic, which I've already clowned on and said what was bad. But I bet you figured out that this existed and you immediately went and got a Primeape. You knew you were going to get this eventually. You probably started with this, or you found this in the first route because everybody catches their Pikachu clone, and this thing was literally OP. There was no reason to ever switch from it. Did I just say this thing was the worst, though, in that logic? Maybe I did. Maybe we need to rethink this. Maybe I just talked about the worst and not the best. Maybe I just did. Maybe I talked about the worst and not the most average. Maybe I just did. You know, I just think Annihilate is probably the most average then. When you really put that into consideration. Annihilate, simply said, as Maya's out there drinking a whole bunch of water. She's thirsty. Simply said, we all were happy Primeape got an evolution because it was a Pokemon that felt incomplete, right? We're happy it was ghost fighting. That was such a cool idea. I feel like this thing is just still too fragile is the biggest problem. And he doesn't pack as big of a punch. Oh, I'm not yawning. Totally not yawning. As big of a punch as others. That's really the big difference I can see here with Annihilate. The most average, though. Yeah, I mean, I think of Sock or Throw every single time I think of just kind of an average Pokemon. I always have. Well, that's our list. We got Poliwrath. We got Hitmontop. We got Thunderthide Hariyama. Gallade, Sock, and Throw. Both of them here. Let me put Throw in there for you. I'll put Sock down there, Throw up here. We got Chestnut, Pheromosa, Surfetch'd, Annihilate, and the most average is Throw and Sock. That's it for the list today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great one. Welcome back, everybody. We have been talking about the most average Pokemon for every type, for every generation. We have made it all the way to the poison type today, and I want to do a little bit of an experiment because I noticed a thing or two about when I made you guys all comment something, how many more views the video actually got. So we're gonna do some YouTube algorithm testing today, and I want everyone to comment on this video. Do it right now. Comment testing. Do it. You can comment test, you can comment testing, you can comment, I don't know, testicles. I really don't care. At the end of the day, just comment something along those lines. I'll give you a minute. Go ahead, right now. I'm waiting. Go ahead. I'm still waiting. All right. Let's talk about the most average Pokemon. We're doing poison typing today is the plan. And for Gen 1 here, looks like I might have to scroll this list over a little bit so you guys can see everything. There we go. What we have here, if I really think about a Pokemon that's kind of middle of the road, you're not happy you have it, you're not mad you have it either, you're kind of just, okay, this is not too bad, is an Arbok. When I think about Arbok, what I think about is, first of all, the show. Our Arbok is as popular as it is thanks to the Pokemon show and not because of its actual popularity in the game. Is this a Pokemon that can do good things for you, though? Yes. It does get a lot of really good poison moves, including Poison Tail. Gen 1 Wrap and Bind were broken, and guess what? This one has one of the two. Coil is a good move. It gets Glare, which is a really good paralyzing move. This is a Pokemon that you're like, okay, whatever. I'm glad I have it, and let's move on to the next one at the end of the day. Like, that's all that you really think about when you have this Pokemon on your team. Okay. This is actually really sad. I don't really have an answer for this because of how bad these are. I'm going to give it to Ariados. No, I'm not. I mean, I think Quillfish is probably better than Ariados just because of the dual typing. Water Psychic is fine. It can become an Overquill, but only in its Hisuian form, I believe. So unfortunately, this is just the bad Quillfish that's just kind of there. It does get Minimize. So when you think about strategically what you can do, at least he gets Minimized. He gets a lot of good water and poison moves, so it's there. He also gets Spikes So you can do some cool stuff with him. You can cheese with him properly. That's really all I have to say, though. Is it bad? Yes, I'm just gonna straight up tell you this is a bad Pokemon. But it's not. But there's look at this list. Like this is the most average of the list. It just is what it is. All right. Okay. So for Gen 3, this is definitely Roselia. Roselia being grass poison is such an overused type. If there's anything that I appreciate about modern day Pokemon, it's the fact that they stopped with this overused grass poison type. Make it a pure grass, make it a pure poison, make it a bug poison, make it a grass bug, make it a, I don't know, grass and I can't, fairy maybe? Fairy would work for Roselia. But like, why on earth do we keep reusing this type? It's a very bad type that only adds bad pieces to a Pokemon. It's as simple as that. And that's what it's always been, unfortunately. That's why Venusaur has thick fat. He has that because he gets destroyed otherwise, right? Wait, does Venusaur get thick fat? No, I don't think he does. Never mind. Point is, he needs it, okay? But grass poison is just, it sucks. It's a really bad type. But is Roselia better in the sense that it still gets a good moveset? Also, yes. Will it still eventually evolve into a Roserade? Also, yes. So, we have to give it credit for that. Gen 4. This is definitely... Yeah, it's Skuntank. Skuntank has one weakness to ground. That's it. One weakness to ground. To this day, one of the only Pokemon with one weakness. One of the only type combinations with one weakness. Dark Ghost is one. Ground Water is one. That might be it. Now, the Ground Water one, of course, being ×4 is really bad. So this one actually being Poison Dark does rival Dark Ghost, which is also really awesome. So you really can't complain. Skuntank with one weakness. You can do a lot of good things defensively with that. The only thing you don't have, unfortunately, is any good offensive moves. But you can poison and just kind of stall with the right moveset and the right defense boosts and just try and play around with it the best way you possibly can. Gen 5, it's Amoonguss. I mean, Amoonguss is like that Pokemon nobody asked for, and they thought it was hilarious when they saw that the first one was called Foongus and the second one was called Amoonguss. And, that's really all I have to say about this Pokemon. It's just kind of, it's there. It is a Leech Seed user. It is another Grass Poison type, unfortunately. But the moveset is there. And, it's a Pokemon you just kind of run into, and it's like, all right, move on, right? Okay. I usually put Megas at the end of this, but I've picked Skrelp into Dragalge for Gen 6 how many times now? Because it's the only Gen 6 poison type. So I need to switch it up. So while I still will do a gimmick form list near the end, I'm going to be allowed to choose Megas here, and I'm actually choosing Mega Venusaur. Oh, sorry. Oh, man, how tired am I? Here's the thing with Mega Venusaur, guys. Out of every Mega they put in the game, is this, or is this not, one of the more underwhelming ones? I feel like when I use a Mega Venusaur, I feel like that, okay, hold on. Get your train of thought, because you're just sitting here talking with no script, and this is what you do. Get your train of thought. Focus. I feel like nothing got that much better with this thing. I feel like a Vine Whip with a regular Venusaur and a Mega Venusaur are not that much different. I feel like his defense is not that much higher. I feel like his attack is not that much higher. And I don't like the design. I don't know. Obviously, Mega Charizard, not only did it get two forms, but the fact that one of them gave him literal dragon form is incredible, and Mega Charizard was a great addition. Mega Blastoise is also kind of similar to Mega Venusaur, but at the same time, it is still, in my opinion, feels stronger, and he's a Shell Smash user, which is even better. His design is cooler as well. And then you have this one. I feel like they just flopped on this one a little bit. I do. Gen 7. What is it? What is it for Gen 7? Yeah, I mean, this is another Pokemon. I thought it was really cool to give Muck a dark typing. Poison Dark. I thought it was super cool. I actually liked the design. Seeing this design animated is so cool. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but I love the way they animated this design because they gave us a picture of it, right, to start, and then they animated the design, and all of the colors basically just like cycle back and forth on his body, which is super cool. So I really liked that addition. Why dark typing is what they chose when they went with this design, I don't know. Maybe Ghost could have worked. Maybe they could have just kept him poison and made him like... well, they couldn't have kept him poison because it had to be in a lowland form, but he's obviously like an extra toxic version of already being of poison already, right? So I'm not sure where they were going to go with it, I guess, but hey, can't really complain. I actually thought it was a really solid addition to give it that dark typing, and it's definitely much better than a lot of people would think, just because they look at this and they're not interested in using it just because it's a Gen 1 Pokemon and its design is not all that cool, but I think it was actually a really good addition. Okay, Gen 8. Another example of not really having a lot of options. So, I'm just going to say it's Galarian Slowbro. Is this Slowbro? Yeah, that's Slowking. Slowbro. Galarian Slowbro is basically that Pokemon that you're just like, all right, whatever. Like, the typing is good. He's just still ridiculously slow, unfortunately, and that's always going to hurt him. And for Gen 9. Okay. Obviously a lot of heavy hitters here. Disregarding any legendaries and paradox Pokemon. Okay. Okay, how am I going to remember your name? Your name... I fight you in Radical Red all the time. What is your name? Glamora. Glamora! Glamora is a wall, okay? Glamora is a wall. What else is Glamora? Literally nothing else. Glamora is a wall. It's a wall with bad typing. Is it good, though? Yes, it gets toxic debris. You can set up every set of hazards on this because of its typing as well. Spikes, stealth rocks. The only thing you don't get is sticky webs, unfortunately, but that's not something you normally get on a Pokemon like this. So is it one of the better walls in the sense of being a lead on a team? Yes, just make sure you switch it into the right type and you've got a chance to set up big time. The most average, though? Honestly, when I think of an average Pokemon, I still think of Arbok. I think Arbok has always been an average Pokemon and nothing much more to that. So that is our list. We got Arbok, Quillfish, Roselia, Skuntank, Amoonguss, Mega Venusaur, a Lowland Muck, Galarian? Is Galar the 8th region? Yeah, Galarian, Slowbro, Glamora, and Arbok, in my opinion, is most average. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm clearly a little sleepy, so I apologize if my energy was off on this one. For ground, though, we're going to turn it up an extra level. I'll see you guys then. Welcome back, everybody. It is time to talk about the most average ground Pokemon for every single generation. Now, before I do that, though, I have learned a thing or two that the more of you guys who comment, the more views the video gets. So I'm going to do something a little funny. For everyone who hate watches me and goes in the comments below to basically say what they don't like, I'm going to make you guys really mad today. Because what we're all going to go comment right now is Wigs is awesome. Everyone go comment that right now. If you hate me, sorry, you're stuck with it. Go ahead, I'll give you a couple minutes. Go down there and comment Wigs is awesome. All right? And if you don't think that, if you actually feel that way, great, this is easy for you. If you don't feel that way, great, do it anyway. Do it anyway. You know, make it a little passive-aggressive. Maybe reword it a little bit to make it seem a little passive-aggressive. Let me see, because I know there's a lot of people. There is a lot of people. Because I'll get 500 views on these things and 10 comments. I know a lot of people don't like my takes, and that's completely fine. That's completely fine. Let me know that you're out there, though. Let me know that you're out there. And just let me know that I'm awesome, okay? I told you had to. I'm just saying. All right. What are the most average ground type Pokemon in all of Pokemon? Well, when I think of an average ground type, the only Pokemon I think of is Sandslash. This is the definition of average. This is the type of Pokemon that you literally think, oh, that's not very threatening. Like, that's what you see when you see this, okay? Now, is he still pretty fast compared to other ground types? Yes. Does he still get good ground moves? Yes. Can you still make him viable on your team? Yes. Doesn't matter that this is literally the definition of average. This is what I think of when I think of an average Pokemon. I think of Sandslash every single time. Gen 2. It's Gligar. Gligar, we're glad you got an evolution, but before you had one, you were still actually better than people thought. I know a lot of people would say, oh, Gligar's the worst. No, it's not the worst, but it isn't good either. But its typing, for its time, was great. Ice was not a strong type in Generation 2. It just wasn't. And because of that, that really helped him out a ton. Gen 3. Okay. Again, definition of average, right? Think about the definition of average. What are we going with here? Claydol, quite simply put, is trash. You saw this thing again and again and again in Victory Road. You saw this thing again and again and again against Team Aqua and Magma. You saw this thing again and again and again against Steven. And every single time this thing was on the floor, what did you do? You one-shot it. Every time. You did. Period. For a fully evolved Pokemon to have the stats that Claydol does, which at least makes him somewhat usable, he is not as good as people say he is. I would say he is a very average Pokemon. Very, very, very average Pokemon. Gen 4. Again, definition of average. Definition of average is Rhyperior. Look, Rhyperior, everybody's biggest problem with Rhyhorn and Rhydon was the typing. Rock and ground don't mix, and there were so many Gen 1 Pokemon that had that typing for some reason. They did a good thing with Onix by upgrading it to Steelix and getting rid of one of those two types. That helped a lot. When they went from Rhydon to Rhyperior in Gen 4, though, they decided that they would keep the typing the same, and it became just as bad. Is Rhyperior better offensively, at least, than Rhydon was? Yes, of course. He is still terrible because of his typing. That typing will always hold him back forever. They should have just removed one of the types, gave him a different type, or something like that. Or gave him an ability. Maybe give him an ability or something that reduces it. I mean, there's got to be something that he can do, but unfortunately he can't do anything. It's useless. Gen 5. Ghost Ground is a really cool type, right? Golurk is a really cool Pokemon. What it isn't is good. Unfortunately, its typing holds it back defensively, even though it helps it offensively. That's my biggest complaint with Golurk. Otherwise, I really like him. Okay, so Gen 6, I basically have 2 new Pokemon and more Megas, so I'm going to have to, again, pick a Mega Pokemon in this one, just like I had to do in the Poison, if it's the right choice. Because actually looking at all these... No, it's Mega Garchomp. I've been told, and I have since done research, that Mega Garchomp is actually a downgrade from actual Garchomp. Looking into it myself, I actually agree. It is. Is it the worst, though? No. I mean, there's some really, really bad ones, like First Form Zygarde is on here, and Diggersby's on here, but, like, this is not good, though. It's not good. Gen 7. It hurts. It hurts because Alolan Dugtrio is basically Dugtrio with wigs on it. When I heard about this, that's the first thing I thought of, and I thought that was hilarious. It's still bad. Giving Diglett a steel typing was a good idea. It was a good idea. Give it a dual type. Fine, no problem. Didn't really get much out of it, though. It really didn't get... Oh, look at me yawning again. It really didn't get much out of that steel typing, though. It didn't make it any more viable. It didn't make it that much better of a Pokemon, if better at all, because it added more weaknesses. It was still fast, but to me, it just didn't do a lot. It did not. Gen 8. Oh my gosh. Nobody asked for Runerigus to be put in the game. Nobody wanted it. Nobody thought it was cool. Everybody wondered why it was there. And then, and well, it's here now. Is it that good? No. No, it's not. No, it's just, it's not. Nobody asked for it, and it's not very good. And that's really all I have to say. This is going to be a short video, guys. It's going to be a short video today. Honestly, it hurts me to do this, but it's Toadscruel. I love this Pokemon, okay? I love this. When I first saw a Tentacruel walking on his tentacles on land, I was like, what is going on right now? What is going on? Like, out of all the things that they did in Gen 9 that I disagreed with, including the open world concept, forcing you to buy DLC to get all the good Pokemon, after you've already spent $70 on the game, by the way. Paradox Pokemon was a cool idea. And things like this, which I guess I could consider in the Paradox Pokemon realm of things, was also a great idea. Also, the story sucked, just being honest. It did. It just plain old did. Especially the evil team. Don't even let me get into that. The fact that the evil teams in Pokemon we had when we were a kid were literally trying to take over the world, and then we get the one we got in Gen 9? Really? Really? I mean, come on, man. Come on. No. Nope. But is Toadscruel really awesome? Yes. I love the idea of this. It's wacky, and it's fun. And it's not a bad Pokemon, but it's certainly not good either. That's all I have to say about him. And you know what? We all probably knew the answer was going to be Sandslash in regards to most average. I mean, this is the definition of an average Pokemon. And every way you look at it, it always has been. All right. Well, if you haven't done it already, go down in the comments below and comment Wigs is awesome. And here's our list. Let's scroll down very slowly for everyone to see. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe. We are pushing for our next goal, which will probably be about 1,500 subscribers. We'll see how fast we can get another 500 after it took us a few years to get 1,000. It'd be really interesting to see kind of how that works. But anyway, see you guys in the next one. Everybody, we are back. It is time to talk about more of the best, not the best, the most average Pokemon of each type. And I did a social experiment with everybody the last couple of videos where I wanted you guys to comment down below. And I decided I kind of want to have a conversation in the comments. So I think I'm going to start doing kind of a question of the day system. And today's question of the day, because I want an opportunity to get to know all of you guys better. I've been watching a lot of One Piece as of late, and I wanted to ask all of you guys, what is your favorite anime? Let me know down below. If you don't like anime, you can just mention any TV show that you've really been enjoying. I also started watching a show on Amazon Prime recently called Invincible, which is actually really, really fun and incredibly entertaining. We're only on episode 3, though, so no spoilers. And then for One Piece, I finally made it to Wano. Whole Cake Island was incredible, in my opinion, the best post-time skip arc. It was absolutely incredible. It was paced much better than Dressrosa was as well, which is nice. So I really enjoyed that. And yeah, I just started Wano on One Piece. So I would probably say One Piece right now is probably eclipsed as my favorite show. If not, it's really, really close. Like One Piece, My Hero, Naruto. Those are probably my favorite 3, and I don't know if I can really put them in an order, but they're all just phenomenal in their own way. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to have a conversation and get recommended some new shows to watch. That'd be really awesome. Also, Solo Leveling. Please don't spoil Solo Leveling, because I'm an English dub watcher, so I'm like 3 weeks behind, but it has been awesome. I've loved every bit of it. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the most average flying types for each generation. All right, 2 minutes later, we're here. All right, I'm sure a lot of you skipped the initial conversation. It is what it is. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. All right, so let's start. Now, when I think of an average flying type, I honestly think of Fearow. Not that Fearow is bad. Fearow is a very good Pokemon, but he's just overshadowed by so many others, but at the same time still good, and it's mainly because he gets Drill Peck, which is the most broken flying type move in Gen 1 pretty much. There is... Oh, I'm not yawning. I promise I'm not yawning. Somebody said in the comments, and I really appreciate you for saying, it's okay to sleep. You don't need to rush these videos out. And while I appreciate the comment, I'm recording these in the middle of the day. I just yawn anyway. It just is what it is. I'm recording these while the sun is still up after work. But anyway, yeah, Firo is essentially, to me, Firo is much better than a lot of things on this list, much worse than a lot of other things on this list. But Drill Peck is really good, and that's basically all you do is send this thing in and spam Drill Peck. That's what he's good for. Gen 2, though, if I really had to think about it, don't mind me, I was just testing my microphone in that moment. It feels like... Oh, I see what's going on. I was just looking at my audio wavelength to make sure that this is, how do you say, recording properly? It is. It's just got my voice down a little bit, which is probably for the best, by the way. Anyway, Gen 2, if I had to choose, I already talked about Jumpluff in a previous video. I actually think Yanma is not that bad. Is Yanmega 10 times better? Yes. Are they both still kind of eh? Also yes. Okay? The fact that this thing gets speed boost is all you need to know. The fact that speed boost is a hidden ability of this guy, even though in Gen 2 there were no abilities, I think we can all agree that the best thing in Gen 3 was the addition of abilities. You know, Gen 3 was kind of hated on a few years ago, where there was a lot of people that really just loved Kanto so much that they didn't like Gen 3 very much, and they had their complaints about it. And it feels like nowadays, as that generation has kind of phased out and a new generation has come in, people are really nostalgic of Gen 3 again, which I love because that's my generation. That's the one I really liked as well. I'm one of them. So adding abilities to the game was a great addition, and it really helped Yanma big time with speed boost. Gen 3 is Ninjask, and it's for the exact same reason. Speed boost is just really good. This thing gets double team, swords dance, and has speed boost as an ability. It is a really underrated possible sweeper. It takes a lot of luck and the right switch in to make it happen, but it is doable for this guy. And while you certainly don't want to use him in a casual playthrough because he just gets one shot by anything and doesn't do any damage, if you can set him up properly, you're good to go. Gen 4, though, I think I'm going to have to go Vespiquen here. I think Vespiquen, my biggest complaint with it is that it's just obscure kind of to get because you have to put the honey on the trees to get the Combi, and then you have to get a female Combi because only the females evolve into Vespiquen and the males don't evolve at all. And it's just a whole chore to get your hands on it to the point where you don't even bother to use it. And then it's got like attack order, heal order, and defend order, and it doesn't really have much else than that. And it's just one of those things where it's just a Pokemon you don't really enjoy using, but still statistically, it is stronger than a lot of others. Gen 5. Swoobat? I almost want to go with Swoobat. I think I do want to go with Swoobat, but I'm not. Because, oh man, I feel like this is like the definition of average. Like, this is a Pokemon that you see in caves. It's the new Zubat, but it has Psychic typing, which is really... Maya. Hey, what are you getting into? What do you have? What do you have? A pen? Come here. 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 All right. One crisis later, I had to chase her around the house with a pen in her mouth, but I got it. It's no big deal. She didn't need any of it. She didn't get anything harmful. I dropped that on the floor a while ago, and I completely trusted that I forgot that it was there. That's how much I trusted her, and she took it. Oh, well. But yeah, Swoobat, the fact that you have Psychic typing is such a huge help to him. That's the best way I can describe it. Gen 6. Gen 6. Noivern's really good. Hawlucha is really good, right? Talonflame is really good. This was a great gen for flying types. It was. I'm actually going to put a controversial answer in here. It's Mega Pinsir. Nobody asked for this. And while the design is cool, while the ability is like, okay, sure. Why is this guy a flying type? Why? Why? It actually hurts him more than it helps him, in my personal opinion. Mega Pinsir is the answer. Gen 7, we don't need to spend much time on this. It's actually Toucanon. I think Toucanon, when you consider any regional bird that has existed, is the worst they've ever made. This is effectively the Pokemon, the regional bird, that I never see. It was not enjoyed at all by fans alike. Gen 8. Do I pick Cramorant again? And thank you. I think it was Bjorn who told me what this name of this Pokemon was because I forgot it. I think Cramorant's the answer. I love the G-Max form, by the way. I love it. But yeah, there's just too many good flying types in Gen 8. It has to be Cramorant. Because it's better than some and not really much better than others. Okay, Gen 9. I'm going to go with a controversial answer. I know a lot of people would say Squawkabilly is probably the worst. That's because it is. I'm going to go Bombardier. I think Bombardier is another Pokemon that's like kind of there. You already have a flying type by the time you see this thing. Even though its design is cool, you're just not going to use it. You already have one. You have this, or you have... Actually, there's just really not a lot else out there. But yeah, I'm definitely going Bombardier here. I think that's the most average. Don't mind me. I'm just going to cough and drink water with the microphone on. You guys are going to love this. There we go. This is not a gen. This is the most average of any generation. Okay, so let's chat about this. The definition of an average Pokemon is Fearow. All right, it is. This is the definition of an average Pokemon. This is what I think of when I think of an average Pokemon. All right. Thank you for watching. Comment down below. Let me know what your favorite anime is. I would love to have a conversation. And also, have some new stuff recommended to me. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. You guys have a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I have tried to record this video 3 times. Now my computer's working. But the good news is I only got to like Gen 2 both times. So, hey, yeah, that works out just fine for me. What I'm going to go ahead and do is talk about some average psychic types today. This is a very good typing. So I am certainly interested in, what's the word I'm looking for? Seeing what I deem to be average once I get a better look at all of them. But I definitely think there's going to be some hard choices in this list. In addition, I started wanting to kind of get to know my viewers a little bit more, and we've been doing questions of the day. And I want to talk about food because I'm hungry. I'm going to get some lunch once I'm done with this recording. And I want to know, favorite food. Let me know right now what's your favorite food in the comments down below. For me, it's pizza. If I could pick any type of pizza, and you guys are probably going to, some of you are going to get this, and some of you are going to think this is trash. Pizza Hut pan pizza is perfect. It is absolutely perfect. There is nothing wrong with it. There's also a place, if you ever visit Ohio, called The Pizza Place, and that is also some of the best pizza I've ever had. So from either of those two places, I don't even live in Ohio. That's just, I went there when I visited there. But yeah, that's a really, really good spot if you ever find yourself in that area. And then in addition, Pizza Hut pan pizza, dude. It's just underrated and it's unbeaten in my personal opinion. And I have to drive 30 minutes to Pizza Hut just to get it, and I will do that 30 minutes every single time I need to over having it delivered every time because it can't be delivered. It's too far away, but it will be worth it if I go pick it up, and I will happily do so. Anyway, let's talk about some psychic types. I'd love to have some conversations about food in the comments. I hope when I read these comments I'm not hungry or I'm going to make some bad choices. But hey, it is what it is. Let's move forward. Average psychic type. Hypno. What do we want to say about Hypno? Well, Hypno is that type of a Pokemon that like nobody uses. I mean, if you played through Gen 1, you might have caught this thing for Pokedex completion. I guarantee you didn't catch it for any other reason. You didn't use it. But if you did happen to use it, what I would tell you is that this thing is very good at being gimmicky and annoying. It has Disable. It has Hypnosis. It has every strong psychic move that Alakazam gets as well. Other than Twisted Spoon, which I guess you could say is not a strong move, but it is something. Hypno essentially is the definition of average. As I've said many times in this video, I mean it. Hypno, plain and simple, is average. And forgotten about as well. I even thought this thing was a trait evolution. That's how bad I forgot about it recently. There's a video where I literally said this was a trait evolution. Everybody said it wasn't, and I was looking at them like they were crazy people, and I was like, what are you talking about? Yes, it is. Like, I was legitimately so disassociated with this thing that I didn't know. There's a lot of things I don't know in all fairness, so I guess it is what it is. Gen 2. Wobbuffet. Listen, for everybody who wants to say this thing is either elite or trash, think about it this way. Think about the law of averages, right? Some of you guys think this is like the greatest thing ever because of the way that you can utilize it, and Shadow Tag is OP. You're on the extreme of good. Some of you guys might think this thing is absolute trash. It's the biggest piece of dog poop in the world. And you guys are also valid considering the way that this thing operates, okay? You guys are the other extreme. Now listen here when I tell you this. What is the average of two extremes? Well, it's the middle, the median. I'm just dumping some 6th grade math on you guys. Is the median not one of the ways we calculate averages? Oh, wait, it is. It is. How about that? How about that? Well, it works out that, oh gosh, who's my 6th grade math teacher? Mr. Porter, shout out Mr. Porter from 6th grade math, taught me a thing or two. And because of him, Wobbuffet is on this list as an average Pokemon. All right, moving forward. Gen 3. Gen 3. The definition of an average Gen 3 Psychic type, quite simply, is Chimecho. The thing with Chimecho is that I'm not even disappointed in its existence. I kind of was when I first played Gen 3 and saw this thing and thought it was cool. When I saw that it didn't evolve, I was really disappointed, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. But it still gets every strong Psychic move out there, including Heal Bell, which is really, really helpful for him in addition. So I can't complain about it. I believe it also gets Wish, so you could do some cool things with it. You just have to strategize properly. But is it bad? No. Is it good? Also no. So it belongs on this list. Pretty straightforward, right? Gen 4, though? Okay, so I didn't want to have to pick it again, but I have to because Bronzong is, in my opinion, good just because it's bulky on top of being a good Psychic type. So, like, Gallade's just kind of there. And Gallade's good. Like, don't be mad. Gallade is good. It's just look at the powerhouses on this list and look at the trash on this list and tell me it's not Gallade. I just can't. Gen 5. Okay. I just picked Swoobat. I can't do it again. But it's okay. It's okay. Because Victini is here. You guys are going to get really mad at this one. Victini is the most overrated Pokemon I've ever seen. And no, I'm not doing an overrated list. I'm not. I actually just came up with an idea right on the fly. I'm not going to do an overrated list. I think my next list, if I do this again, I'll probably be a little bit more comedic with, but we'll get there when we get there, right? Victini has V-Create. Great. That's excellent. I love that Victini has V-Create. Tell me what else this thing does other than get one shot. Tell me what it does. It's not like Manaphy where it has Tail Glow and you can switch it into the right thing and be just fine. This thing doesn't do anything. It's useless. Oh, great, you have V-Create. Oh, great, you're fast. You don't do anything else. Average Pokemon. Gen 6. I mean, this is absolute garbage and good at the same time. Where like the Megas are OP, obviously. Malamar's really good. Meowstic is trash. So I guess that makes Delphox the most average, even though I genuinely think Fire Psychic is one of the best offensive types that Nintendo has ever put together. Game Freak, I should say, not Nintendo, has ever put together. And in doing so, Delphox is really good. It's just not as good. In my opinion, I'd still take Malamar. I'd obviously take Hoopa and any Mega Evolution over it. But yeah, Delphox is incredibly strong. Gen 7. There's a Rangaroo. I was corrected on a Rangaroo last time, thinking he was a fighting type for some reason. But I'm actually going to go for this specific list. I'm actually going to go with... You know what? No, I'm going to Rangaroo. I don't see anything that I would say is much, much worse or much, much better. I think this guy is definitely kind of average. If I remember a Rangaroo properly, and again, I apologize if I'm wrong about any of this, but I'm wrong in all my videos without apologizing, so I guess at the end of the day, you guys are still watching, so I appreciate you guys for not expecting someone who is as old as me to know all these things about a kid's game. Funny thing is, about 6 years ago, I would have never gotten any of these things wrong. It's just crazy how your memory can kind of fade as time goes on. But anyway, a Rangaroo is slow. I believe I remember it being very slow, but its moveset is solid. I think it's part normal, which is kind of upsetting because it loses the fighting type resistance, but there's worse things that can happen. It makes it immune to Ghost as well, so that's a really nice buff as well, so it evens it out. Gen 8. Orbeetle, when I caught this thing, I was like, okay, this better turn into something cool, because we were really, really impressed with Gen 7 finally giving the regional bug type some love and not turning it into another Butterfree clone. And I love that they did that with Vikavolt. And Vikavolt was a really fun, really good Pokemon. Then we had Orbeetle. They thought Bug Psychic was the way to go, and oh no, it was not. Oh no. Let's add more weaknesses to a Pokemon in a typing that's never defensive whatsoever, just so he gets one shot before he steps onto the field. Doesn't matter that he can do sticky webs. You're not going to be able to get it off. You're just going to die. And if you do get it off, you die immediately. Not worth it. Gen 9. I've been told that Espathra is one of the best Pokemon in the game. Matter of fact, I believe when I looked into it on Showdown, it was currently an Uber. So I am definitely not putting it on this list. It almost wants me to put Veluza, but I'm going to put Farigiraf. The problem with Farigiraf is, one, it was an evolution. So like Girafarig was overdue for an evolution, as was Dunsparce, right? And they decided with Dunsparce just to kind of be fun and funny about it, and I actually love that they did that, because Dunsparce was always a meme Pokemon, and Game Freak noticed that and continued to make it a meme Pokemon. And then Girafarig actually needed a power-up, and then they made this. So, yeah, I don't really have much else to say beyond that. But when I really think about an average Pokemon, I really, really think about, when you look at this entire list, I think about Hypno. I feel like Hypno is just the definition of a Pokemon that is there, that you forget exists, but can still do some good things for you. And even though he's not as strong as others on this list, when I look at him in regards to his entire generation, I think he's the most average Pokemon. It's just a Pokemon that you're just happy, you just have. You just have, and you either forget to use it or something like that. So, that's the list for today. Let me know down below, guys. I would love to know. I'm not yawning. That was not a yawn. I didn't get through it. I'd love to know your favorite food. Let me know. You could eat one meal today, right now. What are you eating? Let me know. And recommend me some restaurants, maybe. That'd be a good idea, too. Recommend me some restaurants. I'd be down to try. Even if they're not a chain, you never know if I might travel to certain locations in the future. But yeah, be happy to hear. All right. You guys have a great... Good afternoon, everybody. It is time for another edition of the most average Pokemon. I did want to give you guys a little bit of an update as well. From here on, every single video that I publish will be published for members only, and then we'll go live at its usual time. So basically, the schedule remains the same, but if you do want to be a member of the channel, if you want to hit that join button on the channel screen, every single thing as soon as I upload it is yours, whereas I schedule them for everyone else. So those of you who are watching right now, nothing's going to change for you if you are not a member, but if you do want to be a member and see stuff early, I do work ahead, but I only upload every other day, so there will be a little bit more content, potentially a lot more content for you as time goes on. So just a note and something to keep an eye on. Speaking of, I do have another question of the day today. You can see it on your screen. I figured out how to add that in my editor. How about that? We're moving up in the world, aren't we? Tell me your favorite Pokemon. The fact that we have gone this far and I haven't asked everybody for their favorite Pokemon, even though I know a handful of your favorite Pokemon already. Yeah, tell me your favorite Pokemon. I'd love to hear about it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the video. Let's talk about the most average bug types in all of Pokemon. And, and I didn't tell you guys my favorite Pokemon. I'm gonna maybe talk about it in this video. We'll see. So Gen 1. If we're thinking of an average bug type, average. The reason it's Parasect is because we all know Parasect is bad. We all know his typing is terrible. We all know his defensive stats are terrible, his offensive stats are terrible, all of it. But you know what he can do? He can press Spore. And you know what? It's the most broken sleep move in the game. And at the time of Gen 1, I believe he was... Oh my gosh, I need to stop yawning. I believe he was the only one who had it. So, hey, it is what it is. For Gen 2, guys, this is my favorite Pokemon. I think some of you knew this. I would probably say it was this. There's other ones that I definitely think might be possible, but right now I'm feeling Heracross is my favorite Pokemon. Now, he's not the most average, though. To me, the most average is actually going to go to the Shuckman. The Shuckman is quite simply the best wall in the game. At a time where walls were not a huge thing in Pokemon, this guy stood out supreme. I don't really have much more of an explanation beyond that, but he is an absolute mad lad of bulk. Gen 3. I already knew where I was going with this. You can, with Wonder Guard, do pretty much anything you choose to. The world is your... Is it oyster? Is that the way? Is the world is your oyster? Is that how the saying goes? Anyway, it is when you have this thing. This thing will take care of you. It will do everything you need it to do. Simple as that. You just have to make sure you switch it into something that can't kill you. In other words, know the limitations of Wonder Guard. Use them right. For Gen 4... Mothim is not a good Pokemon. It's not. Mothim does learn Quiver Dance, making it at least average. I really don't think there's much more of an explanation needed beyond that. Gen 5. I think we're going to go with Crustle. Bulk City. Crustle is Bulk City. Simple as that. That is why he's the selection on this one. This guy, even though his typing sucks, because it really does, will bulk. Generation 6. Well, we're going to have to pick a Mega or a Vivillon. And the Megas are Scizor, Heracross, and Pinsir. Yeah, or Beedrill. I think we're just going to pick Vivillon. We're going to call it a day. It's not the worst because this exists, right? Right? I think I've just talked about all those Megas before. We're going to put Vivillon on the list and call it a day so we can move forward, right? Okay, so I love Vikavolt. Great Pokemon. Ribombee is basically Mothim and Beautifly, but better. Oh, this is Cutiefly. No, this is Cutiefly. This is Ribombee. And then this is Dewpider, which evolves into this guy. I want to say his name is Araquanid, but I feel like I'm thinking of a different game when I say Araquanid. So I'm not sure about that one. And then obviously you have Golisopod, Buzzwole, and Pheromosa. I'm actually going to say it's Pheromosa, and the reason why I'm choosing this is because just like many other Pokemon, Pheromosa offensively is an absolute Giga Chad, right? It's so incredibly powerful. But you get one shot. And Fighting Bug is such a terrible typing for defense. Even though it's not built for it, it's even worse having Fighting Bug. So Pheromosa is definitely the answer. Just because, even though it's an Ultra Beast, it gets limited significantly by its typing and its defense. Frostmoth is the Pokemon nobody expected to get, nobody wanted, and nobody used. Is it still better than you think with a bug ice typing? Yes. As a matter of fact, I didn't even expect it until I saw it, that this thing would even exist. I didn't even see this thing becoming Ice Bug, but it did. And its moveset was pretty good. Nothing else was. And honestly, this is a Pokemon that I think a lot of people forget about just because it was never viable. Generation 9. Yeah, I mean, if I had to choose between Spidops and Lokix, I would say Lokix is better. And that's why I'm going to go with him. I think Spidops is, unfortunately, even though his name is cool and his design is cool, just effectively probably one of the worst ones on this list, if not the worst one. Lokix at least gets use of a lot more different moves, and he's part Dark-type, which is to his benefit, not to his dismay. So I really, really like Lokix for that reason. I definitely would consider him an average Pokemon. I would consider Spidops a bad Pokemon if I had to choose between the two. But the average of the averages. Yeah. I mean, when I think of Pokemon like Mothim, like Beautifly, like Butterfree, like Ribombee, maybe even throw Vespiquen in that mix. Of course, Vivillon. Like, all those Pokemon do the same thing. This one is just better than the other ones that do the same thing, but it's still the same thing. You know, they've kind of reskinned the same butterfly Pokemon again and again and again and again and again. I guess this one's a moth, not a butterfly, but you know where I'm going with that. And at the end of the day, it's just they're all very similar. This is better than all the other ones, but it's still just a straight up average Pokemon, unfortunately. So that's my list. Those are your average bug types. Thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you for some rock types coming up soon. I'll let you know when. Have a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we're here to talk about some more of the most average Pokemon of each generation. Today we've got the rock types, and I did want to extend the announcement I made in the last video. Every single video will be uploaded for members first, and then will be released normal time to all non-members. Just another update on that. Members get everything immediately because I like to work ahead, and everybody else, nothing will really change otherwise. So you can be a member if you want, and if you don't, no problem at all. This is not a requirement at all, but it is an option for you if you want to see any content early. I have that available for you now. We've got a question of the day today as well. I wanted to know, other than Pokemon, because if you're watching this, I'm sure Pokemon is your favorite game, if not one of your favorite games. But what other games have you been playing? What is your favorite non-Pokemon game? And if you only play Pokemon, just let me know what your favorite Pokemon game is. That's completely fine. For me, I've played League of Legends and World of Warcraft, going on 10 plus years of both. I've probably spent more hours in World of Warcraft than any other game. And being an MMO fan, I did hear that there was a game called Poke MMO that I'm probably going to try one of these days for the channel, because if I'm a fan of MMOs, I should be a fan of that, so long as it's put together and works pretty well. It's just a matter of, I haven't heard much about it, so that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, it could be kind of a fan project. We'll see, but I'll try it out one of these days soon and see how it goes. But yeah, World of Warcraft is probably my favorite game. If I had to guess, I may have, give or take, like, how many hours do I have in the game? I probably have 600 or 700 total days of my life spent logged into that game. So, you know, be concerned if you want, but at the end of the day, I had a great time. That was not a fart. My chair squeaked. See, I can do it again. I can mimic it. All right, we convinced now? All right. Let's go ahead and talk about some rock types, though, while we're at it. Most average is the goal. And for Gen 1, I think it's definitely going to be Golem. When you really think about Golem, the problem is its defense and its type is absolutely trash. Rock Ground is just a type that nerfs it so bad. But this guy gets every good and bad, sorry, not every good and bad, every good rock and ground move in the game is learned by him. And that holds a lot of value, more than you think. If you can just make sure you don't get blasted in one hit, you should be fine. You should be fine. The problem is it doesn't happen all the time, and that's why Golem is not great. He's just average. Okay. Sudowoodo is a Pokemon that's long overdue for an evolution. I think everybody can agree with that. Adding Bonsly, nobody wanted that. Everybody wanted an evolution for it, and instead they got Bonsly. What does this thing do that's good for you, though? Well, his moveset and his defense. That's it. Unfortunately, and the only thing this thing really excels in is being annoying, because you have to do the whole spray bottle thing with in Generation 2, and yeah, that's kind of where we're at here. So it is what it is. It's a Pokemon that is here, and we're just happy it's not bad or good. We're just happy it's kind of in the middle. But I guess it's more bad than good, but I would still put it here. Gen 3. My biggest problem with Cradily, right? My biggest problem, right, is the fact that this thing has no offensive uses whatsoever. It is a wall. It is a setup Pokemon. It uses Ingrain, which helps it stay on the field longer. It does have, I think it's suction cups, so you can't whirlwind it. Those are all positive things. The negative things is that this thing will not hit anything for anything, no matter how many times you try to do it. And Rock and Grass is a very unique typing. Matter of fact, it may have been the first of its kind in Generation 3. It may have been, because those are two types that don't ever mix together. It could have been added more rock grass later in the game, but I think this is the only one at the current moment. Sudowoodo should have been a rock grass, and it probably would have been if it was designed in this day and age, but back then it was just pure rock. So yeah, it was actually, because I can check them. It is the only one that was rock grass if you don't count Lileep as well. So yeah, but unfortunately for it, it just isn't offensive whatsoever for you. So you can't do much with it, especially in Gen 3 when you don't have stealth rocks and a lot of the other setup moves. Okay, nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for Probopass to be added to the game. Nobody asked for Probopass to be in the game. Nobody saw Probopass and thought, oh, I have to have that. I have to catch that immediately. What you did feel about it was just, Nosepass was okay in Gen 3. It was pretty annoying, actually. It's disappointing it didn't get an evolution, so they gave it one. And because it looks ridiculous, they decided they might as well give him a mustache and a funky hat and call it a day. And that's what they did. Yeah, there's still no rock and grass. I'm fact-checking myself right now, and I'm off to a great start on that one, okay? I'm not wrong this time, guys. Okay, Gigalith. Gigalith is everything that Golem could have been because he's pure rock instead of rock ground. That is the perfect example of what he is. Is he as good as other Pokemon in here, though? Of course not. I think Archeops is incredible. I think, oh gosh, what's your name? Caracosta? Caracosta? I think it's Caracosta. I think he's better too. Gigalith is good, though. He's good. Gen 6, still no grass and rock, by the way. It is probably going to be Aurora. Aurorus? No, is this Aurorus? And this is Aurora? No, it's not Aurora. It's Amora? Is it Amora? Oh my gosh. We're looking this up. Aurorus? Is it Aurorus? It's Aurorus. Okay, and it's what evolves into Aurorus. Let's see what its pre-evolution is called. Its pre-evolution is Amora. So I had him. I was close. This is Aurorus, okay? Rock and ice is a terrible type. You get destroyed by steel. You get destroyed by rock. You get destroyed by water, by grass. You don't even get your fire resistance anymore. You get destroyed by, I think I said steel already. It's not a good type. But offensively, this thing is very good with that typing as well. I think Stakataka has no purpose existing other than just being a wall. And while that is good for some Pokemon, it just doesn't really work for this one when you have a lot of really good rock types here, including Lycanroc, which is one of the best. I think Stakataka is just kind of in the middle. Solid, but it's just there. Oh, that's cool. It's like a little background on my question of the day text. That's cool. I just added it to OBS this time because that's easier than editing it later. And that was pretty easy. Do we have what is going on? There's no way, as many times I've done this list, there's no rock types added in that gen. Oh, it's broken. Oh no. They broke the universal Pokemon picker. It's broken. No way. Okay, I'm going to refresh it. Hold on. Let's refresh it. Oh, my internet went down. Hold on. Hold on. My internet went down. Okay. I think we're back in. All right, hold on. Go this way. Okay. Okay, we're good. Okay, I was like, there is no way. As many times I've done this list, I don't know that there's no rock types in Gen 8. Like, I was like, no. Internet went down. We're good. Okay. Generation 8. Stonejourner is the perfect example of a Pokemon that is better than you think. Just give it a try. Just try using it. Okay. Yeah. My internet is dead because it's still not working. Okay, let's go with this one, guys. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to pick it. And, Giggleth is the most average. All right, thank you for watching. I'm going to fix my internet. And I'll see you guys when I get it working again. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Wigs Gaming. I wanted to thank everybody for your support on this series so far. We kind of have spiced it up a little bit through some quizzes in there, through some showdown content in there. Getting back to the average Pokemon list for today. And I do have another question of the day today, just to kind of get a conversation going in the comments. I do want to know, if you do watch anybody other than me, who's your favorite content creator right now? It doesn't have to be inside the space of Pokemon or gaming. It can be outside. Honestly, inside the space, I think some people would probably agree with me on this. Shady Penguin is one of the best that's ever done it. I'm a massive fan of his. Big fan of A-Drives as well. Those have kind of been my two favorite inside the space for many years. Outside the space, I've been watching a lot of Soda Poppin' on Twitch. Both his World of Warcraft stuff is excellent, and his variety stuff. He did a huge WoW event from November all the way to February and March that I watched a lot of. So probably outside the space, I would say him. Inside the space, definitely someone like Shady. And honestly, I know I'm a thousand sub Andy right now, but if I ever get a chance to collaborate with Shady Penguin, whether it's 10 years from now or 2 months from now, I will show him this video. Okay, I really look up to the guy. It would be a really, really awesome milestone to be able to collab with him. So who knows? Who knows? And you know what? If it never happens, it never happens, right? Maya, you can sniff my microphone. Thank you for doing that. Keep my microphone safe. But let's talk about the most average ghost types now that I've gone on my spiel. And if you made it this far in the video, do me a favor, comment on the question of the day. I'd love to have a conversation and also just get to know some different content creators that would be fun to watch. And you can pick me, but I'm not expecting you to. All right, so no feelings are going to get hurt if you don't pick me. Average ghost types. All right, well, for Gen 1, we have the worst, we have the best, and we have the middle. So I really don't have an explanation more than this, unfortunately, for Haunter, because he is average compared to what you have access to. So what are you going to do? Oh, man. You guys are going to get really mad at me for this one, because, I have to choose between Miss Drevis, and Miss Drevis. Maya, you were being crazy today. Maya, who should I pick? Can you tell me who I should pick? Can you tell me who I should pick? Who should I pick? Here, whisper it into the microphone. Look at the microphone. She just licked the microphone. There's some ASMR, dog ASMR for you. Maya, I think she was saying Miss Drevis is the answer, so I have to go with that. All right, Gen 3. I think when you put it together that Baynet is probably one of the more disappointing ghost types. It looks like one of those voodoo dolls or rag dolls. Ragdoll? I don't know. Voodoo doll? That's what they went with, right? To make it a ghost type. And I think it's a cool Pokemon. It isn't very good, but it is better than you think, because actually this thing defensively is better than you think it is. Defensively, it can do some great stuff for you, and it does get a great moveset for ghost type moves, so you really can't complain. It's a curse user. It is a, what is the other move it gets? It's a Dream Eater combo user if you need it. I don't mind this thing whatsoever. Gen 4. I think Miss Magius, what people kind of disregard is that it's just outshadowed by other ghost types in its generation. This was an evolution many people asked for and were happy to get. And one thing that I will say about Miss Magius, Maya, you crazy? She's literally going nuts. Is that this thing has a lot of HP. A lot of HP. That's what makes it as effective as it is. That's what I really like about it. Its HP is super, super high, and at the same time, great moveset. It's basically a better version of Miss Drevis already. This is the interruption I have to do this video with, because Maya is running around in circles right now. Okay, Gen 5. I don't know who I want here. I'm going to take Chandelure. Chandelure is a Pokemon that people don't like because of its design. I think that's overblown. I think it's cool that there is a lantern that's come to life, a light fixture that has come to life, thus being a ghost type because it's an inanimate object becoming animate, and at the same time, it's a fire type because it is a light fixture. Hey, Maya! She really is being insane right now. You're being insane. Do I need to take you for a walk after this video? All right, I'll do that. How about that? Can you give me 2 more minutes? 3 more minutes? All right, if you made it this far, also comment Maya go on a walk. Generation 6. Okay, it is unfortunately going to be Trevenant. Gorgeist? Gorgeist? No, that's Gorgeist. Trevenant. Grass Ghost. These are both Grass Ghost Pokemon. I will tell you right now, and you guys are going to get mad at me, I don't know the statistical difference between the two. So why don't we just pick both and save the anger in the comments, because I know I'm going to get it regardless, as I always do. I got no problem with people correcting me, but some people are like, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. Or they're like, this dude is serious. They're like, don't make this video if you're uninformed. It's like, okay, I chose to make the video. You can make your own with an informed opinion if you decide to. This is me just going straight up with it, all right? Generation 7. I think it's Delmise. I think some people might tell me in the comments that Delmise is better than I think it is. But Delmise is basically a wall, and that's it. Grass and Steel, great typing, by the way. It was Ferrothorn was the original Grass Steel that was an incredible wall. And this is basically Ferrothorn, but a little bit worse. That's the best explanation I can think of for it. Gen 8? Not a lot of options. I guess it's going to have to be... I don't even know. Okay, full disclaimer, didn't play Legends Arceus. Saw a lot of gameplay on it. Didn't feel like I needed to play it myself. I probably will play Legends ZA, but that's going to be on when I get a Switch 2, because I'm not getting the Switch 2 on launch. So we'll see if I have a Switch 2 by the time ZA comes out, because I'm not going to buy it for Switch 1. I'll probably buy it for Switch 2 whenever that time comes. And also Generation 10, I'm sure, will be launched probably next year, if I had to guess, with the Switch 2 as well. So I'll at least have it by then. So I'm just going to go to Poltegeist. I think just because of the fact that this thing is bulkier than you think. It has great typing, and it has great damage. Now, Gen 9, I think when you really put it together that Houndstone is actually considered one of the best ghost types. I have seen so many great things about Houndstone over the years since it came out, and even seeing it competitively myself. This thing is excellent. Annihilate, though, let me talk about for a minute, because the thing with Annihilate is we got a Primeape evolution, right? We did. We got a Primeape evolution. I am incredibly grateful and happy that we got a Primeape evolution. I am not happy that the Primeape evolution we got is still mid. Primeape was the example of a fighting type Pokemon that was just weak. It had the moveset for it. It had the design for it. It looked like a cool Pokemon. It looked like a strong Pokemon. It wasn't. Simple as that. We didn't get an evolution in Gen 4 like we thought we might, or even Gen 2. And then we finally get it here in Gen 9. It's part Ghost, which is super cool, right? Nobody disagrees with the fact that Ghost was an interesting thing. Did it need the Ghost typing? No. Did it give it to it and it was kind of cool that it gave it to it? Absolutely. Okay? However, the biggest Maya, I hear you causing trouble. 1 more minute. However, it also hurt it that it gained the Ghost typing. It did. And unfortunately for this thing, statistically, it didn't get that much better. Moveset-wise, it didn't get that much better. This thing still gets one-shot by everything you send it into, and it's not fast enough to do anything about it. And that's why Annihilate is, while it's not bad, it is not great either. Most underrated, though, I actually was getting a comment that there was a theme that I kept picking Gen 1 Pokemon. And that's probably true just because I'm more knowledgeable about Gen 1 than anything else, so I feel strongly about them more than anything else. But honestly, in this case, it's not going to be a Gen 1 answer because Haunter was kind of a meme answer because there's just one option. I actually think it's Miss Magius. I think that Miss Magius's HP is way better than you think it is. Way, way, way better. Simple as that. I don't have much more than that to tell you. So, with that being said, that is our list. of the most underrated? Average? Have I been saying underrated this entire time? Oh, no. Okay, the video says average. You guys know that's what we've been talking about. We already had an underrated list, okay? And this is probably similar, but not quite. Not quite. Anyway, here's our list. Thank you for watching. I have to go take Maya on a walk because I promised it, and you don't promise this dog anything, and she will not let it down anytime you promise her something. It would be good. It's a really nice day out, 64 degrees, so I'd be down to get out of the house for a bit. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is time to talk about the most average dragons from each generation. My name is Wigs. If this is your first time here, I highly recommend you subscribe because there will be more content like this on the way. Let's go ahead and jump in. We are talking about the most average Pokemon of every generation for every type, all the way up until we get to the end of this list. And today it happens to be Ghost type, not Ghost type, Dragon type. We did Ghost type last time around. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What is the most average Dragon type? Well, the definition of average is not the worst, not the best, pretty much in the middle. So we have no other choice. Let's move on to the next one. I have gotten so many angry comments about people just straight up saying that I'm wrong. And I'm okay with that. I like the discourse. I like the conversation. But you guys are going to get really mad at me on this one because I have to pick Kingdra. And I didn't want to have to pick Kingdra. It was a really tough choice. It was either Kingdra or Kingdra. So I know there's going to be some angry people in the comments saying, why didn't you pick Kingdra? And I didn't because I decided I wanted to pick Kingdra instead. Gen 3. I wanted to pick Altaria, but I'd honestly say that Altaria is probably the worst dragon of Gen 3. Now, Gen 3's got a lot of powerhouses. I'm not counting Bagon and Shelgon, by the way, just final evolutions. I think that's fair. So if we're talking about average, I'm going to have to go with Latios. The problem with Latios is, out of the two versions of it, Latios is just better at attacking. And being a more specially defensive psychic type just really doesn't do a lot for you because Bug is physical in Generation 3. Which is one of your worst weaknesses. So it's just not doing you any favors. Not to mention, I believe Dark is special, but Ghost is also physical. So you just get destroyed anyway. It doesn't really help you much. You're probably the most average. I would say so. Okay, well, this is kind of interesting. Honestly, I'm going to have to go with Palkia. I think out of the dragons that are available, I think Garchomp is amazing. Giratina is amazing. Palkia is the answer. I don't really think there's any other possible answer beyond that. I think that's the right answer. Gen 5. Now we can get into something a little bit more on the average side. Again, dragons are just powerhouses. It's really hard. It's easy to pick the worst. It's easy to pick the best. It's easy to pick the ugliest. It is not very easy to pick the average. But I would honestly say Druddigon's by far the worst. If I'm thinking an average, I'm thinking about Zekrom. I feel like I see Reshiram all the time in competitive battling, but I never see Zekrom. And when you look at all these other ones, I see them as well, but I never see Zekrom. Maybe its typing holds it back. Maybe the fact that it gets hit really hard by ground is part of the problem. I'm not sure, but it's just not the best. It's good because it's a legendary. It's not the best. Gen 6 is where we started getting some wacky dragon types that we didn't even need. And the best fit for this list, in my opinion, is regular form Zygarde. This is simply just missed opportunity. The fact that we didn't get a Pokemon Z and they rushed Sun and Moon was really weird. Sun and Moon did well. They were purchased. They were good games. I actually never finished them because I prefer tradition and they felt off to me. But if you enjoyed them, great. I heard they were excellent games. I'm not here to absolutely destroy them and say they're bad. That's not what I'm here for. But at the end of the day, I think we still should have gotten a Pokemon Z because I loved Gen 6. But they just never did it. And now we're getting ZA, so I guess we're getting a little bit of that now, but too little, too late. But that's an average dragon type if I've ever seen it. An incomplete Zygarde. Yep, that'll do it. Gen 7. It's the Turtonator. It is the Turtonator. I absolutely love saying his name, by the way. This thing is awesome. It is Fire Dragon, which is great. I don't think we had a Fire Dragon before this point. Use your brain. Reshiram. Before that, I don't think we ever had it, though. So it's basically just a worse version of Reshiram, typing-wise, but it's better defensively, and it has some cool moves. Only problem with this is it's so obscure it's hard to find. Like, you don't know it's there But otherwise, it's great. I'm a big fan of it. Generation 8? It's Arctovish. Yeah, next question. I mean, it was between that and Duraludon. I think Duraludon is just really good, though. I think it's Arctovish. And then Gen 9. And this is where things get interesting for me because what I am kind of debating between, I think generally Baxcalibur was underappreciated and was a lot better than it was, but people do still think it's bad from a pseudo-legendary standpoint. I understand that. Cyclizar is actually really good competitively, but it doesn't provide much more worth. And then Tatsugiri is like one of the worst dragon types we've ever made. It's bulky, but it doesn't do much else than that. Then we got the new Applin forms, and then we got the new Paradoxes. But I'm going to give you an unpopular answer. It's Koraidon. Koraidon sucks! It sucks! This is the worst box art legendary we have had potentially ever. Potentially ever. It sucks. It just does. But it's a legendary, so its stats are off the charts. But it still sucks. Do I know anybody else in here who bought Pokemon Scarlet and played all the way through it just to be able to use this piece of crap? Because I had to. I was not happy. It sucks. It does. What is the most average, though? You know, if I'm just picking the average from this list, a dragon type that I legitimately think is just average, it is Zygarde. Like, Zygarde's the one I think about. Without question, it is the one that I think about when I think about just an overall average Pokemon that's just there to have a good time. And you can use him or you can't, but if you do use him, you'll get something out of him, not a lot out of him. And that's pretty much it. That is the example of what Zygarde is. Should have made Pokemon Z. But you know what? Promises were not made, but promises were kept because we are getting a Pokemon Z. Just a different concept of a Pokemon Z, but hopefully it'll give us all of the same things, which is all we want at the end of the day. So here we are. This is our list. Dragonair, Kingdra, Latios, Palkia, Zekrom, Zygarde, Turtonator, Arctovish, Koraidon, and of course our most average is going to be Zygarde. We've got some dark types to talk about next. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. It's actually going to be popping up on your screen now if it hasn't already done so. Just hit that channel button, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be getting these out for you guys as soon as I can, as many lists as possible until we're all the way at the end of the list, and I'll give you a preview. It goes all the way this way. So I will see you guys for some dark types next time. Make sure you subscribe and don't miss out. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back to more average Pokemon, and it's time to continue to have our discussion. The dark types is next, and if you didn't know already, dark typing did not exist until Gen 2. So we're going to have some limited options for the first couple, but then everything will be just fine. If this is your first time here, my name is Wigs. Thank you for being here, and feel free to hit subscribe if you are enjoying the content we are providing here on the channel. Let's get into it. All right, so I have to pick something here. I'll just pick this one, and we will move on. This is missing no. This is like a dead Aerodactyl. That might be some sort of bug. The substitute. This is the ghost from the Pokemon Tower. And then this is also... I think somebody explained these to me in a previous video. Whoever that is, I appreciate you, and I'm sorry I already forgot. If you want to comment it again, feel free to do so. I'll put missing no there for now. All right. Average dark type, it's Houndoom. I mean, plain and simple. The biggest problem with Houndoom is while Fire Dark is a really cool idea, both types are special, which worked out in its favor at the time. It just adds way too many weaknesses to either a pure Dark or a pure Fire. You just added so much more to it that you don't need to, and that's part of the problem. But is it as good as Tyranitar? No. Is it as good as Umbreon? No. Is it better than Murkrow and Sneasel? Also yes. So that puts an average for me, in my opinion. I think for Gen 3, I'm of kind of the similar feeling for Mightyena. I think Mightyena, for a Pokemon that you start the game with, just is so useless the first 3 gyms. Like, the first gym is Rock, you can't do anything. The second gym is Fighting, you get one shot. The third gym is electric with multiple magnetons and magnemites, so you can't do anything to those. And then the electric comes out and outspeeds you and one-shots you anyway. And then the fourth gym, you can finally probably do something, but by then you've dropped this Pokemon. So from a standard of like a Pokemon you get early in the game, again, I don't think it's bad, but it is inconvenient considering the way the game that it's in is set up for you. When you can get Shiftry, you can get Sableye, you can get Sharpedo all sooner than like the fourth gym when he's finally useful. On top of that, I just think these other Pokemon have better typings and better movesets and better speed stats. So Mightyena is the answer. Gen 4, it's Spiritomb. I think the only thing that Spiritomb has going for it is that it has no weakness. It doesn't have much else going. It's a Shadow Sneak user. Okay, great. It has no attack power to go with that. Move on. Generation 5. There's a lot of options in here. The right answer, in my opinion here, is probably Scrafty. I think there's just, when you look at all these Pokemon that you get in a similar point in time, Mandibuzz, Crocodile, Liepard early in the games, Bisharp you get earlier in the game as well, I believe. When you see this thing, you just don't really like its design. It's just his pants are falling down, and that's basically what's going on. I don't hate him, but I don't really think that this is a Pokemon that offers... I keep yawning, man. This is crazy. That offers as much as the other ones do of the same typing. Gen 6. I mean, yeah, it's Pangoro. Nothing more to it. It's Pangoro. Gen 7. I was gonna go Alolan Raticate, but I actually think that's the worst. I'm gonna go Alolan Persian. You still have the regular Persian. It's a dark type, and okay, cool. It's still Persian, so it's still fast. It's still strong. It's frail, and it'll get one shot, but it does have that going for it at least. And also, he looks goofier. I don't know why they gave him that face. Less menacing. Nerfed him a little bit. The looks nerfed him a little bit. Gen 7. Okay, we're going to talk about an average Pokemon. We need to talk about the average of all the averages. Morpeko. This is the exact Pokemon that you catch and you're like, okay, cool. And then you send it out in a battle and it does one hit for a lot of damage and you're like, okay, cool. Then it gets one shot and you're like, oh, not cool. It has a cool ability, but that's all it really has for it. And hey, as far as Pikachu clones go, there are worse ones out there. So I will give this thing credit where credit is due. It's all right. It's not that good, though. And Gen 9. I'm not yawning. I promise I didn't just yawn again. I would never do that. I'm going to give an answer that people are not going to appreciate. But you know what? I need comments. And when you need comments on your video, you do this. Wo-Chen. What does this thing provide other than setting up Stealth Rocks? Go ahead. Let me know in the comments right now what this thing does other than Stealth Rocks. I'm sorry. I see this thing in every competitive battling video that I watch. I see this in every single Pokemon Showdown team I fight against in OU. And what does it do besides throw down rocks? Nothing! It just sits there and hits rocks, and then it hits rest if it gets hit really hard. It does nothing else. This thing is so absolutely useless. If Toxic wasn't banned, it would probably be a lot better, but Toxic is banned. This thing does absolutely nothing except throw rocks out. Do not tell me this is an excellent Pokemon. I'll give it the bulk. I'll give it the ability to set up Stealth Rocks and stay alive for longer periods of time. I will not give you anything else. This thing is terrible. I guess it's average because of its statistics and because it's legendary at least. Okay, I'll give you that. Deal? Okay, cool. Now go comment down below because I need comments. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. So go ahead. Comment down below and tell me that I'm wrong. Go ahead and try. Go ahead and try. Anyway. We have to decide who the most average is. And I think everything that I explained about Mightyena really does put him here. He's just that Pokemon that it's average. It's like you see a Mightyena and you're like, okay, it's Mightyena. You're not super astounded. You're not super impressed. You're just content. in the moment of that's what you got. And things could have been worse, but they're not. That's it. That's our list. Missing No, Houndoom, Mighty Anna, Spiritomb. Yo, that was a bar. Did you hear that? Missing No, Houndoom, Mighty Anna, Spiritomb. That was so awesome. Okay. I am going to be... We got to turn that into some sort of Pokemon rap one of these days. That is excellent. That is the Pokemon rap. Missing No, Houndoom, Mighty Anna, Spiritomb. That's the new Poke rap. All right? I created it just now. Anyway. Scrafty, Pangoro, Persian, Morpeko, Wochen, Mighty Anna. All right. We are done. That's the list. There's a subscribe button popping up on the right side of your screen. Please feel free to hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. We're trying to make a push for 2,000. And if you made it this far in the video, why don't you also leave me a comment and say, new Poke Rap, you have to make it. Sure, why not? Something like that. See you guys then. The Steel type, the Steel type, the Steel type. Home to probably some of the best Pokemon designs, but some of the worst offensive Pokemon that have ever been created, because why on earth would they give a Steel type anything other than defensive power? Let's have a chat about the ones that are average, the ones that are good, and the ones that are bad all at once. But mostly we're just talking about the averages. You know me, I just like to talk, I guess, a little too much sometimes. Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Wigs. If you are new here, I highly recommend you hit the subscribe button. We are trying to reach 2,000 subscribers today. So please, 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 please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. I know this video will come across at least 100 people minimum. And with that being said, that means that's 100 people that could subscribe that have not. So you know who you are. I'm calling you out now. Go ahead and hit that button. Now, let's talk about some average Steel types here. And we are going to start with an absolute banger of Magneton. Why did I choose Magneton? Well, simple. I had no other choice. Moving on. Generation 2. All right, now we got some options here. And I think the right solution here, the right answer here, in my opinion, is probably going to be Steelix. I think that Forretress is probably the worst, and the only reason why I say that is because I feel like Forretress, for the most part, that fire weakness just destroys him. It's as simple as that. There's nothing he can do to get around it. He just dies. And he's too slow to even get rocks out first before he takes a fire blast or something else, right? You have to hope it misses. Steelix, on the other hand, is a stealth rock user, is defensive, is steel and ground, which gives him better versatility than a steel and rock type would do. So I'm glad they gave him steel ground and not steel rock, because he would have been 10 times worse. And he's big and bulky. He has a lot of HP. You can't really go wrong. Certainly, you'd be happier to have other things, but at the end of the day, you're not mad that you have a Steelix in your party. That's the best way I can describe it. Gen 3. Registeel, in my opinion, is one of the worst legendaries they've ever made. I just don't know what this thing provides for you. Unfortunately, it was a victim of its generation. Steel types in Generation 3 did not possess, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, did not possess offensive power, but they also didn't possess things like Stealth Rocks that made defensive Pokemon thrive in later generations. And because that didn't exist, all this thing could really do is spam Superpower, and he would also use Curse, which was nice that he had that. But Superpower wasn't Stab. It lowered your stats every time you used it. Curse lowered your speed super low, which didn't matter because your speed was already low. That was probably the best thing that it could do, but that's all it had available to it. Its defense is tremendous, don't get me wrong, but it has nothing to boost its special defense either, though. And that's one of the other big problems with him. So I just don't think Registeel is the way to go. Just like I talked about with Fortress, Fire Blast will just destroy it. But when you look at kind of some of the other options, there's a lot of good options and there's a lot of bad options. I think this is pretty fair, in my opinion. I am not yawning, guys. I would never yawn in this video. I think it's a fair assumption, as you guys did not see me just do an on-screen edit. I would never do that. I would never do something like that. So I think Registeel is the right way to go. Generation 4. I am definitely torn, but the right decision is probably going to be Bronzong. This is an example of, I know I've been kind of judging the steel types that are defense and no offense, but because of Bronzong's typing, he has a little bit more offense. Not to mention, he gets moves that actually benefit him. This is a perfect Calm Mind user. And that's what really makes him most effective, in my opinion. It is not a perfect Pokemon by any means. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It's average, and that's why it's on the list. Gen 5. Okay. Yes, the time machine. Listen, there is nothing more to say. A time machine can make you go back to the previous turn that you were just on before your Pokemon died in your Nuzlocke, okay? This is quite obviously the most average thing you could possibly have, because you could also, while you're back there and back in time, could mess with the future. You could go back in time and cut down a tree, and then all of a sudden everything changed and you're a completely different person in a completely different place. Sometimes that's just how they always determine time travel in movies. No, of course I'm not going to rank the time machine. I just thought it was hilarious that that's even on there. The one that I am going to say is average, though, in my personal opinion. Nah, I'm just joking. This is an obvious Kling Klang one. I love Kling Klang's unique abilities. I love its name. I don't mind the design. It just doesn't do anything else. And there are so many steel types that are better than it, but there are also quite a few steel types that are worse than it. So here it is. Kling Klang belongs here. And does it get Levitate? I think it does. Levitate helps a lot. If it has it. I'm pretty sure it does. Gen 6. Okay, so this actually gives me pain because every last one of these Pokemon is elite. Like every last one. Klefki was an absolute god in competitive battling back in the day. Probably still is. I don't do competitive battles anymore, so I'm not an expert. I don't know. Aegislash with stance change was considered banned from competitive play because it was too broken. I guess the only thing I could probably rank here, and the rest of these are megas, and I probably won't rank the megas. So the only thing I can put here is Honedge, and the reason why I'm going to put Honedge here, Doublade has been a staple in competitive battling. It's been one of the best for so long because its offensive stats are so good. So is Honedge's. Just in a worse capacity. So I guess you could say it's the most average. That's all I've got for you. Gen 7. Give me Togedemaru. I love this thing. Give this thing a Rocky helmet, and it destroys you with Zing Zap. It tanks up hits like no tomorrow. I think it also gets Iron Barbs as an ability. Just busted. Love this thing. Can't complain about this thing whatsoever. Gen 8. You know, I don't think this is an average Pokemon by any means, but it is compared to what we also have available here, where you see Corviknights here, you see Duraludon is here, and then, of course, you have Zacian and Zamazenta. So it's Capparaja. I like Capparaja. It's a great Heavy Slam user. It is a phenomenal defensive Pokemon that also has some good offensive abilities. This is also in later gens where I will respect Steel-type's ability to also provide offensive attacks. So I'm not mad at Capparaja. I think it's a great Pokemon. It's just not as good as it could be. I actually used a Capparaja in my Gen 8 run and enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it was a phenomenal Pokemon. I thought it did a lot of really good stuff early in the game with Heavy Slam. And then later on, if I needed somebody to take a big hit or maybe even just use hazards, this was the guy for that. Not to mention, I really like its design. It's an elephant, but it's like an elephant that grew up in the grasslands. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. I think it's super cool. Gen 9. Yeah, I mean, it's Orthworm. When I think about an average Pokemon, I think about Orthworm. I don't remember the last time I used Orthworm and thought to myself, oh, hey, that thing's kind of cool. Oh, hey, that thing's really strong. It's like, no. As I'm yawning again, totally not doing that. It's cool that it was one of those special, giant Pokemon that you discovered in Scarlet and Violet. I don't remember exactly what they called those back in the day. Again, it's been 2 years probably since I've played the game all the way through. But I do think that Orthworm doesn't have anything special to it. It's pure steel, which is nice. They could have made it worse and made it Steel Bug. It's pure steel. But what does it really give to you? I just don't think it gives you enough. Most average, though? I gotta still give it to Registeel. To have legendary stats and just be that useless is really painful, man. I mean, you're better off just spamming Curse and then pressing Explosion and just sacrificing your life because you'll at least make sure you kill the Pokemon in front of you with your absolutely abysmal attack stat. So I think that's the way to go. I think Registeel is definitely the most average. So that is our list here. Magneton, Steelix, Registeel, Bronzong, Kling Kling, Onedge. What is your name? Togedemaru, Copperajah, Orthworm, and our most average is going to be Registeel. That is our list. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you haven't subscribed already, what are you doing? I will have something pop up on the screen here shortly that'll let you subscribe. I have to stop talking or it won't pop up. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you for some fairy types next time. I think we're going to be a little nicer today because we have hit the fairies of the land. And I definitely was a lot negative on that steel type video, but I think the fairies are just calming. They're peaceful. They didn't do anything to you to make you hate them. You know, I think this is the way to go. Now, there's a lot of girly designs in the fairy typing, but we're not talking about designs, so I'll try and stray away from that, but I bet you I'll mention a couple designs that I'm not the biggest fan of. But otherwise, I think that this is great. This is the best type that nobody asked for in Pokemon, and let's go ahead and let's talk about the most average ones. By the way, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. I would really appreciate it. We are trying to hit 2,000 subscribers today. Do not miss out on an opportunity to subscribe so you can get all my videos as soon as possible. All right, Gen 1, most average fairy type Pokemon. Well, quite simple. It is the definition of an average Pokemon, and that is Clefable. Clefable does everything at an average level. You want something that can learn a lot of TMs and HMs? There's Clefable. You want somebody that can put a little bit of a punch in with a strong normal type move? It's Clefable. You want somebody that can take a big hit? It's Clefable. She can't take two. She can only take one. Adding fairy typing did help this Pokemon. It certainly didn't hurt it. But at the same time, it remained just as average. Gen 2. Granbull definitely didn't need fairy typing. I don't know why they gave it to him. I'm not a big fan of it. I liked him pure normal more. He does get access to Play Rough being a physical Pokemon. It did make him better overall. I just wish they didn't give it to him. I just think normal fit him better. But it's not about fit. It's about, is he a better Pokemon than what he was before? Yes, he was. Is he basically average because Azumarill's much better, and this at least eventually evolves into Togekiss, and this eventually becomes... Actually, that's trash. We're not going to talk about that. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense at the end of the day. So we're going Granbull. Gen 3. Okay, choices suck. Straight up, choices suck. So we're going to use some logical reasoning here, okay? This is big brain thinking, okay? This is the biggest brain thinking. I'm going to channel my big brain thinking, okay? Give me just a second. I need quiet. I need full quiet. I heard you talking quiet. Okay, big brain's on. This is the answer. Why is this the answer, you might ask? Well, I think it's quite simple, okay? I think it's quite simple. This is too good. This is too trash. But this, here's the thing about this. It has a chance to become this. It's all about the law of potential. This could become this. Okay? It's all about the law of potential. Simple as that. Azurill is the answer. Okay. Well, I'm going to use the same logic for my Mewner. You know why? Because my big brain is on. It can become a Mr. Mime. Okay? Okay. Oh, no. I have to choose between Cottony and Whimsicott. Honestly, I'm just going to leave it blank. You know why I'm going to leave it blank? Because I'm acting. That's basically, at that point in time, if it's blank, then nobody can get mad at me for choosing between the two of them. One is the worst, one is the best. There is no average. But the thing is, Whimsicott's just an average Pokemon. The thing is absolutely garbage. So why don't we just move on? Okay, I've got a lot of Flabébés in here. And a lot of Floettes, and a lot of Florges. Oh, man. Well, the answer is Slurpuff. Aromatisse is better than Slurpuff. They're both incredibly average, but Aromatisse is much better. Carbink I thought about, but I actually kind of like Carbink. I think it's better than people say it is. Aromatisse has more HP. Dedenne with the electric typing helps him. I think Slurpuff's the best answer for this. That's what I'm going with. Gen 7. I think We're going to go with a controversial answer here, guys. And that controversial answer, once I remember its name, oh my gosh, what is your name? Mimikyu. Mimikyu is the answer. If it weren't for this thing's ability, what does it do for you? Fairy Ghost is a cool type, by the way. I don't know why it's part fairy, but if it weren't for your ability, what are you? I think it's that simple. I think people only like this thing because of its ability as well. I think it's that simple. It's not that good. People remember Gen 7 and remember running into this thing and having a really difficult time, and they regard it as like a goated Pokemon. It did spend some time being pretty good in competitive battling too. I believe it's banned now because of its ability. I don't remember that, if I'm right on that or not. Again, I get a lot of people that are experts in competitive battling in the comments, and by all means, please let me know on that one. But yeah, I don't think it's in competitive battling anymore, and I just genuinely don't think it's that good. I think there's too many counters to it now. Gen 8. There is no more average Pokemon than Alchemy. And the reason why it's average, and here's why I'll tell you this. So we all know what the worst Pokemon are. Magikarp, Sunkern, any stage 1 bug, stuff like that. Like, we know what bad Pokemon are, right? Kakuna and Metapod, Cascoon, Silcoon, stuff like that, right? We know what the bad ones are, and we know what the best ones are. Mewtwo, and you name it beyond that. I'm not going to go and list every legendary and everything else, right? We know what the good ones are. We know what the bad ones are. Tell me Alchemy is not the most unforgettable Pokemon you've ever set your eyes on. You can't. You straight up can't tell me that this is not the most unforgettable Pokemon. Sorry, the most forgettable Pokemon. Because to me, it is the most forgettable Pokemon. If you gave me a list of Pokemon and you said, if you told me to fill out a list of Pokemon from memory, Alchemy would never be on that list. It would never be on that list. It would not be like a random brain fart, oh, I know that Pokemon. It would be straight up, never came to mind, never even got close. This is such a forgettable Pokemon, and that's how you know it's average, because the bad ones you remember, and the good ones you remember as well. Generation 9. This is painful because they're all good. I'm gonna go with this one. I'm trying to remember your name. I think it was Pheasantipity. Was that your name? The only reason you're on this list, honestly, is to incite rage for people that skip to the end of the video, okay? For all you end of video skippers, you are going to, I guarantee it, I will see comments that people are like, why did you put Pheasantipity in there? She's so good. And the thing is that they jumped to the end of the video and they didn't listen to this conversation. This is there strictly for rage bait because I don't have a good answer for this one, all right? This is a rage bait answer for comments and engagement on YouTube. I play the system and this is playing the system. And you know what? We're going to keep playing the system. Nah, I'm not going to do it. Nah. Let's go ahead. Play the system. Play the system. I think my actual answer would probably be Clefable, just in case anybody's curious. But that's it, guys. That's our list. That is the full list. As you see here, we have got our average fairy types. Clefable, Granbull, Azurill, Mime Jr., Whimsicott, Slurpuff, Mimikyu, Alchemy, Pheasantipity, and the most average, in my opinion, is absolutely Pheasantipity. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. If you don't like the video, I guess you can hit dislike. Actually, don't do that. That's not very nice. But everything else is done. We have completed the average Pokemon of every single type. But we're not done. We are going to talk about the most average starter. We're going to talk about the most average gimmick form. We are going to talk about the most average legendary. And maybe if you guys are interested, I might pick a favorite Pokemon of every type. I would have to fill out this whole grid before I could do that, but I'm definitely interested in potentially doing something like that as well. So if that's something you guys are interested in, maybe I will do that as well, but I'm not fully decided on it. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you for average starters in the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is time to talk about more of the most average Pokemon. Today, we are going to talk about the most average starter of every single generation. So if you are excited for this, make sure you hit a like on the video down below. Likes are really good for the YouTube algorithm. And please subscribe. We are pushing for 2,000. We're at about 1,300, so we need as many subscribers as we can get. So if you enjoy the content that I have here and you want to see more, make sure that you subscribe. Now let's go ahead and talk about it. We've got some starters, some average ones to talk about. And let me fix this so you guys can see everything. Hold on just a second, guys. I will fix this for you. Oh, look what I can do. Look at that. On-screen edits, the best kind. All right, so average starter. So we're going to start and go down the list. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to exclude Eevee and Pikachu entirely because those are obviously the answers. So instead, I'm going to go final evolution only, okay? Final evolution only because there's 3 stages on every single one. Final evolution only. It's Blastoise. Yeah. I like Blastoise. I do, but I can't disregard the fact that all this thing is overshadowed by its 2 counterparts. This one right here is one of the best starters ever made, if not the greatest. This one right here is a dual type, which adds a lot of appeal and has a much better moveset. This guy is just this guy. I like him, but I can't justify him. He's the most average. Gen 2. This is interesting because I think everybody agrees that the best is Typhlosion and the worst is Meganium, so we'd probably go water again. Look, I think Feraligatr is amazing. I think it lacks, until the physical special split, that much power because it gets a lot of physical water moves and doesn't have the physical... They aren't considered physical, so they don't match his attack. That really hurts him. But otherwise, I like the Pokemon a lot. He just needed more. And then the other 2 are, one's better, one's worse. I mean, what are you going to say, right? This is hard for me. I feel like the Gen 3 starters are the 3 best starters we've ever gotten, period. The most average one, probably, though, is Swampert, and I think the only reason why I would consider it average and not great is just because of the typing. The typing is great offensively. It's absolutely atrocious defensively, and that's basically it. Gen 4, Empoleon is an average. This is the example of average. Example of average, period. Water Steel's a cool type, but it is simply just never going to hold up to what Infernape is, and it is never going to be worse than what, oh gosh, what's his name? Torterra is. I think Torterra is fine, by the way. It's just not as good as the other 2. This one's kind of the one that's in the middle. Gen 5, Emboar. Yeah, it's Emboar. They did firefighting 3 times in a row. They missed the mark the 3rd time. They really did. They really did. Gen 6. This is interesting. I think the Gen 6 starters are also all really good. Chestnut definitely is average, though, comparably. That weakness to flying is just atrocious. It adds so many weaknesses with grass and fighting at the same time. I like him offensively. I just can't deal with him otherwise. Gen 7. I wanted Primarina to be so good. Back when they originally announced the starters, people were like saying what team they were on, like Team Litten, Team Rowlet, or Team Poplio. I was all Team Poplio, but when the game released, and I didn't get it until Christmas of that year, the game released maybe a month before that, and unfortunately for me, I kept seeing Primarina not really do much, whereas Rowlet was super cool and got ghost typing in its final form, and I was like, okay, I'm going with Rowlet. And then Incineroar is like, yeah, he's pretty good. Fire Dark is pretty solid. Primarina, Water Fairy, also pretty solid, but it just isn't as good as the other 2, in my opinion. If anything, it's better than Incineroar, but that's it. It disappointed me, to say the least. Generation 8. The one in the middle, for me, is going to be Cinderace. Cinderace is my favorite of the 3, but obviously... Monkey guy, what's his name? What's the name of the monkey? What's the monkey's name? I forgot his name. Starts with an R, I think. I don't know for sure. But Cinderace is like, kind of in the middle. I think Inteleon's the weakest, unfortunately. I think he's the coolest, but I think he's the weakest, unfortunately. And Cinderace is kind of the one in the middle. For sure. For sure. Last but not least, Generation 9. And it is obviously Quackable. I think people will hate me for this, but I think Skeledirge is the worst. I think Skeledirge is my favorite one, but it's the worst of the bunch. Masquerada, from a competitive battling standpoint, a speed standpoint, a typing standpoint, a moveset standpoint, is the best, even though I hate its design. Quackable is just kind of in the middle. Disappointing that we had such a cool design from a first stage and we got this abomination, but It's really cool. It's really kind of in the middle. It is. It's in the middle. Okay. Last but not least, we have to decide the most average starter. And I feel like Blastoise is like the example of an average starter. Like, you're going to get some good stuff. You're going to get some stuff that isn't good enough. And that's what reminds me of an average starter. I feel like Blastoise is the perfect average starter Pokemon. Period. It is. So that is my list for all of the average starters. We've got 2 more to do, gimmick forms and legends. I will see you for the next video. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And in addition, like the video and comment down below. And you know what? If you made it this far in the video, I want you to comment your favorite Pokemon gimmick form. Comment your favorite Pokemon gimmick form in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. Let me know if you got this far in the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, gimmick forms. I appreciate you guys commenting your favorite gimmick forms in the comments down below in the last video. Or did you? I don't know. I'm recording this one right after the last one. Anyway, welcome back to Wigs Gaming. It is time to talk about some more of the average Pokemon. And today, we are going to talk about the average gimmick form. So if you're excited to see it, make sure you hit a like button down below, guys. It takes literally half a second, if that, to hit one button and then scroll back up and watch my video. All right, simple as that. I'll give you a moment. I'll wait. Also, while you're down there, hit subscribe because we need to get to 2,000, and right now we're only at 1.3 thousand. Now, let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about the most average gimmick forms. I'll leave the starters up here so they can traumatize you and stare at you as well. But if you missed this video, watch this video first about the starters. All right. Average gimmick forms, every single generation. Let's talk about them. This is going to be strictly design-based. This is not going to be power-based because there are so many different gimmicks that they have created, so it's going to be strictly design-based. What is the average design? Not the worst, not the best, the one in the middle that's like, it's all right. All right, that's the plan. Okay. I think the solution here is simple. It's Kangaskhan, Mega Kangaskhan. Mega Kangaskhan, I like the idea, right? His baby comes out and helps him fight. Cool idea. It's just, from a design standpoint of the way it looks, it's not all that menacing. This would be second place in my opinion. Now, there are bad ones. There are bad Mega designs. In my opinion, Mega Charizard Y is garbage. In my personal opinion, I would also say that G-Max Snorlax is garbage. Okay? But average is Mega Kangaskhan. Mega Kangaskhan is average. Simple as that. Gen 2, we've got 6 Megas to choose from. To me, I got to go with Houndoom. I feel like you added so much to the rest of them. But for Houndoom, for me, they just gave him some armor. And I thought based off the armor that maybe he'd gain steel typing. He didn't. I think it'd be cool. You could put Flash Cannon on him. He would gain a ridiculously bad weakness. And I know he's already dual type, so he'd have to lose one of them. But I think it could have been cool, but they decided not to go with it. Gen 3, we have a lot of options thanks to Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. We also have the Shadow Lugia from Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness in here. But if I'm talking about an average Mega design, I think the simple answer is either Latios or Latias. First of all, they made the two look the exact same. I don't see any differences between the two right now. And I don't know if you guys can see it. Maybe it's the color scheme. Maybe the shade is slightly lighter. Oh, it's the eyes. Latias has red eyes. Okay. Well, point is, I just don't think they're that much different from the original. I don't think they added much to it, but there are worse and there are better. Like, in my opinion, a worse design is the Giant Gem. A worse design is the Wings. A worse design is the longer dress, right? This is kind of just average. Gen 4. Not a lot of options. I think the obvious option is going to be Mega Lopunny. You finally gave it fighting typing. Great. That's what elevates this to average. It's not a very good Mega design. It's just taller with longer hair. That's really all I have to say about it. A lot of options here because of the, I believe people said it's the Pokestar Studios thing. So these are all considered gimmick forms. So you know what? I'm just going to pick what I like out of this. The legs makes me laugh. I don't know why that's in there. This looks like the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's a very old, early 2010s meme. And then there's a gate that looks like a pig, and a time machine, and a Garbodor who looks like he has extra garbage. This should have been his G-Max form. I can't believe he didn't get a G-Max form. Wait, Is that his G-Max form? Okay, it probably is. It probably is. And then we have Mecha Tyranitar. You know what? It's Mecha Tyranitar. It looks cool, but it's not as funny as the legs. And it's not as bad as just like the random robot. So give me Mecha T-Tar. Mecha T-Tar all the way. Whoa! Okay, that's because all megas count as Gen 6. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out so you guys can see all of these. There we go. Okay. So that means I basically just get to pick whatever else is average that I didn't choose earlier. I gotta go Aerodactyl then. Aerodactyl, just with all these rocks on his body, is not that exciting, to say the least. I just don't think it adds much. So I'm gonna say it's Aerodactyl. Gen 7. Okay, so we have a Melmetal, and I found out a few days ago, actually I think it was yesterday on another video I was recording that unfortunately I won't be releasing, I don't think, but we'll see. If you see it, you'll know. That Necrozma, this is a Necrozma form, which I never knew. That's super cool. We have Alolan forms in here. I think the obvious choice is Alolan Executor. Look, I think Alolan Executor has a lot of charm to it. I like that it's a dragon type. I like its moveset. I like how its moveset corresponds to its long neck design. I think it is better than others. Like Doug Trio, for example, just has a bunch of hair, right? I like to think it's Doug Trio with wigs, which is why I love it. But, you know, that's just how it goes. Raichu is by far the best. He's literally surfing on his tail. It's awesome. This needs some work. It's not very good, right? This is not very good either. This is one of the worst ones, right? This is in the middle. I'm pretty happy with that. Gen 8, we have all the G-Maxes. Every G-Max form. Every single one. All right. And we also have some Hisuian and some Galarian forms. Okay. Corviknight by far is the worst. You just added these red accents to his G-Max form. Orbeetles is awesome. Also, oh gosh, what's your name? Dreadnought, not very good. Colossal, not very good. Inteleon has a sniper rifle. I will never let this down. That is the best G-Max form in the world. A sniper rifle. I need to scan these for a little longer. You look like an Attack on Titan. That looks awesome. You are a birthday cake. That is awesome. You have a whole bunch of drums. Rillaboom is his name, by the way. I didn't know his name in the last video. It was Rillaboom. I remembered it just off the top of my head just now. All right, let's stop for a second and think. And you know what? The answer is Rapidash. The answer is Galarian Rapidash. Here's why the answer is Rapidash, guys. Here's why the answer is Rapidash. Looks terrible. Looks stupid. I don't like it. But does it work? Yes, because it's a fairy type now. Because you added fairy typing to it, it works. Because you added fairy type to it, it works. But that's it. And so I will elevate it from bad to average for that reason, but it's still average. And you guys can hate on me in the comments all you want. Matter of fact, go down in the comments right now. If you are somebody who watches the whole video, I want to know. Because usually what people do is they skip to the end. And so when I say, hey, if you made it this far, comment this. Usually when I do that, there's a lot of people who skip to the end to find the full list. And then they go whine in the comments below. Happens all the time, right? So if you're watching right now, you're a true OG, okay? You are watching the whole video, and I appreciate you. So comment down below, you're wrong about Rapidash if you made it this far, all right? Just comment down below, tell me that. Tell me that. If you believe it. And if you don't, let me know that you agree. Gen 9. Okay. The answer to me, obviously is Tauros. We got a Tauros regional variant. Great. I like that. I have no complaints of that. I have no problem with that, right? But the biggest problem is that it just wasn't as flashy as we hoped it would be. I do like the fire one more than the water. Why? Just because red's my favorite color and blue isn't. So it elevates from bad to average. Done. What's the most average design, though? Yep. If you watched earlier in the video, you know why I'm putting this here. I'm trying to rage bait, clearly. But yeah, that's the list. That is the most average gimmick forms of every single generation. I'm going to scroll down slowly so you guys can see them all. And that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. We have one more video in the average series. I'm excited. I'm going to record it right now. I will see you guys in the next one. We have some legendaries to talk about. The most average ones they've ever made. Simple as that. Not the best, not the worst, somewhere in the middle. Welcome to Wigs Gaming, guys. This is the finale of our average Pokemon series. We started all the way in normal types, and we made our way all the way over to legendaries today. So if you've enjoyed the series and you want to see more things like this, subscribe. We're pushing for 2,000. Not sure how close we are at this point. Probably not much closer than the last video, but that's okay. The more, the merrier. And I really appreciate all you guys that get a chance to subscribe. In addition, I do want you guys to be aware that I would love to do something more with the Pokemon Picker. One of my most recent ideas, and I would love to hear some comments and some feedback on it, is worst design. So I'm only going to be talking about Pokemon from a design standpoint. Now, if you feel like the Universal Pokemon Picker has definitely overstayed its welcome because I've done 4 or 5 different things with it, that's okay. Let me know that as well. I'm willing to try different things. It's just, at the end of the day, I am happy to also continue to do things that you guys enjoy. And at the end of the day, if the videos are getting views, I'm going to go with them. So let me know if that's an idea you may be interested in or any other ideas that you potentially have. Let me know in the comments down below as well. Now, for all of you that have already tuned out of the video because I keep talking, I apologize. Let's go ahead and start the video now. Let's talk about the most average legendary Pokemon of every single generation. Gen 1's Mew. Yes, I said it. I said it was Mew. People overrate Mew. It is not Mewtwo, but it's also not bad. So it can't be worst. It is average. It's better than the birds. It's not better than Mewtwo. It belongs in the average category. All right? I don't think that's a controversial answer when you look at the other options you have. Period. Gen 2. Celebi. Celebi might be the most overrated Pokemon in the world. I'm serious. Like, I feel like people look at Celebi and regard it like it's some legend of like some legendary Pokemon. It is a legendary Pokemon. Some legend of a Pokemon that will just one-shot everything. No, it's not that good. And by the way, Grass Psychic, atrocious typing. Atrocious. Gen 3. Now, I would put Jirachi in a similar category as Celebi if it wasn't for the Steel typing. The Steel typing make it so much better than it really is. Groudon is actually the answer. Groudon is cool. Groudon is integral to the story. Groudon has 1.5 million weaknesses that he gets destroyed by, and all of his decent moves are fire moves for some reason, but he's not a fire type for some reason. He's only pure ground. Generation 4. This video is going to go way too quick. I already know it. Okay. It's Regigigas. Slow Start nerfs him. I think he's actually one of the best after Slow Start, but Slow Start just nerfs him too much. I can't put him in bad, but I can't put him in perfect either. Slow Start is the problem there. I think that's an educated answer that's not going to be controversial at all. Right? Right? Maybe? Okay, maybe not. Gen 5. Okay, it's Meloetta. Definition of average. Nobody asked for this Pokemon. Nobody uses this Pokemon. Nobody thinks this Pokemon's very good. Move on. Gen 6. Okay. I definitely am not sure about this one. Is this the Pokken Tournament Mewtwo? Is that what they put in there? I think they did. I'm going to go with Volcanion. I love Volcanion. I love his design. I love his moveset. But he just doesn't hold a card to... I guess regular Zygarde would work too. No, regular Zygarde's the worst legendary ever made, actually. I'm not using Megas. Hoopa Unbound is broken. Diancie is actually quite good with its typing. Xerneas and Yveltal are great. So it's like, I feel like it's the only option I really have here, unfortunately. But I do really like Volcanion. I do. Hopefully people won't get mad at me once they hear my opinion, at least. Well, people get mad at me about my opinions all the time, but not on Volcanion, right? Not on Volcanion. Gen 7. Gen 7. Okay. I think the answer has to be Magearna. Generation 8. And I have no explanation. I don't know anything about that Pokemon, guys, but I know enough about the rest. Generation 8. You know, I think it's really disappointing that Zarude is a Pokemon. Like, I'm just disappointed every time I look at a Zarude. I just am. That's all I can really say. It could have been so much better than it ended up being. And instead, it was just a Zarude. And it was very Zarude that I even said that about him, but still. Generation 9. So every single... This is hard. This is really hard for me. It's gonna have to be Tinglu. Because out of his 4 counterparts, he's more useful than the rest. And the reason why I consider him more useful than the rest is because he is actually a very good bulky tank in competitive battles. And that's what I give him credit for. Nothing else, though. I mean, he's really just a glorified Registeel. That's what he is. Period. The most average, though, I'm going to have to go with Groudon, guys. I just don't think Groudon is very good. I don't think I've ever thought Groudon is very good. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to have a Groudon if I came across one in a Nuzlocke or something, but like, I've never thought Groudon is that incredible or that impressive. So, that is our list of the most average Pokemon. Mew, Celebi, Groudon, Regigigas, Meloetta, Volcanion, Magearna, Zarude, Tinglu? Is that Tinglu or Wo-Chien? It's one. No, Wo-Chien I think is this one. And this is Chien-Pao, and this is Chi-Yu, this is Tinglu. Tell me if I got all 4 of those right. I'm not an expert, I always forget names. Secondly, Groudon the most average. So that's the video, guys. We're done. We did it. We named the average of every single everything. Let me know if you want to see more of something with this website. I've done a lot, and I'll continue to do more if you guys like it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.